Good evening, one and all. It's great to be back at our 8 p.m. Eastern time slot here at Scouching Live. It is May 19th, 2025, and I am joined by my producer, Mr. A.J. Gidaro, after thinking I was going to be doing this show alone today. Would you consider today to be the year one or day one of year one of a new era here in the GTA? You know, you've got before Christ, we got after death, Anno Domine, and are we talking, what are we talking here? Post-core PC era, you know, maybe? I mean,
Uh,
how you feeling,
I hope
AJ,
not.
Mister?
I hope
Yep,
not. I hope it is year whatever of Core 4 that we're going into next because it's not their fault, ladies and gentlemen. It is not their fault. Look at the garbage depth players on this team that I'd been pointing out to. And yes, I'd been glazing them a little bit during the playoffs, but Scott Lawton, not very good. OEL, not very good. All right? But in truth, this is when you play this way, where you just are okay sitting back in your own defensive end and just letting another team pressure you the way they did. When one goal goes in, it can all go off the rails. And am I surprised? No. Am I sad? A little bit, but I'm all right. I just hope that the big boys come back and that they actually fix their I want to say fix their well, poo, but a meaner word. All right. But like, it's just annoying because I really believe this group of core players can still win, but they just continuously put dog shit players around them on the bottom end of this team. All right. And that is the problem. And I won't have it. I will not have any core four slander tonight. I will not. I will not deal with it. But I appreciate
I
you all coming in tonight. And please get us to 9,000 subs because we're really
that's true.
close.
Yeah, that would be great. No, screw 9, we're going to 10. Yeah, I mean, for anyone living under the biggest rock in the whole universe, the Toronto Maple Leafs got eliminated last night, to the Florida Panthers in a 6-1. I mean, I don't know what other adjective you would use, but humiliation.
Yeah, no,
It
that's
was a
fair.
humiliating game. Um, and I mean, look, I get what you're saying. Like, if you take a 100 game sample of the Toronto Maple Leafs, you probably want guys like Mitch Marner on your team.
Yeah,
But it is really hard to ignore that this is a team, this has happened every year, and I've
yeah.
said this a billion times. This is a team that cannot make it easy for themselves.
Nope, they cannot.
They cannot find a way to take control of a situation. They always have to react. They always have to battle back. They always have to play a game 7 or an overtime, like even when they won a series in 6, right? They won it in overtime. It's just everything is, I mean, that's kind of how the playoffs are, I suppose.
Yep.
But like, this was a series against Florida where they were up 2-0. They went to overtime in game 3. They were a bounce away from being up 3-0. And then in the days since that happened, game 6 was a clinic. They did really well.
Hmm.
But I cannot see I cannot see how you spin what happened in game 5 and 7 as anything other than this is awful. Like,
It is.
I don't like. I know there's a lot of people who are saying like, "Oh, it's the fan." Like, the media is talking about the fan pressure and all of that, and I think that's nuts. Like, the way I see it, if you're in Toronto, the way I see it is like it's like going to a Guns N' Roses concert in 2025. Like, they show up late. They're all wasted. They don't put on the best show. You spend $1,000 on the ticket, and it's like they expect you to be like grateful. It's like, whoa, I mean, it's like people love Guns N' Roses. People love going to concerts. But if you don't get your money's worth, then how are you going to blame the people who bought the tickets for like expecting something, right? And you know, Guns N' Roses, they do have some bangers. They've got some hits. They rock still. But you know for a fact that there is a very large chance that when you do pay all this money, you're going to get garbage, right? And I'm sorry, like the 2 home games in a second round series, and you get outscored 12-2. One of those goals that you do score is scored by a guy they then
Yeah,
scratched.
that's so annoying.
Is nonsense. Like, I don't really care about who, like it's I don't know, man.
They have.
The
Go
most
ahead.
savage thing I saw was on, I believe it's Sportsnet's like post Leaf game thing last night, and Justin Bourne said that no matter how you feel about what happened, that game is going to be highlighted forever
Yeah.
as the game where Mitch Marner was caught on camera yelling at his line mates halfway through the game with dry hair about waking up, and then he went out the next shift, coughed up the puck, and they got scored on. Like that is how the people are going to remember this. Like it does not. And this is what I mean. Like for me with the Toronto Maple Leafs, it's like nothing matters. Nothing matters until now. Like they could win 82 games in the regular season next year. It will not matter, right? Like it doesn't matter. And I don't know. I look at it as like it was so bad.
Yeah.
Like the first 5 minutes of that game, you could have told me that that was an AHL All-Star team against the former Stanley Cup champions, and I would have been like, well, yeah, obviously you're going to give up the first 20 shot attempts of the game to the other team.
21, I think.
Okay, yeah, right. Like obviously, I think that there was some little finagling there, where I do think Toronto in that time did have some momentum that challenged Florida, but it doesn't matter. Like
It all
Florida
fell
got the
apart
actual
when one
attempts.
goal went in, and that was the
It
problem.
all fell apart the moment they got scored on. And I mean, look, like we're gonna get into it in terms of like why this happened, but you and I both agree.
Yes.
We look at the Florida Panthers as the perfect example of how you win in 2025.
Because
And the
of
Toronto
play
Maple Leafs,
style.
the
Play
Toronto
style
Maple
being the
Leafs
key
play
point.
the Toronto Maple Leafs, I think, play like the great value discount bin version of that. They think they are the Florida Panthers. I think that the brain trust of the Toronto Maple Leafs think that over the last season they turned themselves into a team more like Florida. Just like how when Toronto lost to Washington and then got run over by Boston, they slowly wanted to turn themselves into the Boston Bruins. And that's, I think, what started. They just lost their path, right? And now you see them trying to go, well, Florida steamrolled us and all these other things. So maybe we should try
They
to be more
just
like
add
them.
character and physicality, and it does nothing because they don't have pace and speed and puck
it's
movement.
never enough.
It
right?
is like
It's never
what it
enough
is like.
character.
It is like letting an army besiege your capital city, all right, and letting them have all your supply lines because you have no ability to move the puck. That is what that is. The puck is your supply lines. It is your food. It is your water. It is your life in the game of hockey. It is your ability to go and actually create offense. And you know what the Leafs do? They just give it up. They give it up and hope that the talent on their team will carry it through, because they do have a tremendous amount of talent. But you can't sit behind your walls the entire time and just hope that you are going to win. The Mongolian army's out there, and they're going to slaughter everybody in the city except the teachers and
The teachers.
No, seriously, the teachers and the administrators, all right?
It's a great allegory. The Mongolians of the Middle Ages and the Florida Panthers of 2025. There are echoes there, right? Like it's hard to argue against the Mongolian army the way they were in like 1212, right? So, I mean, I think that the thing you kind of touched on there was like the Leafs play like they dare you to play like the Panthers.
Yeah.
It's like they're playing with fire all the time. And
Stop playing like the Byzantines, all right? These aren't the walls of Constantinople. Okay.
And there were moments where the Leafs did do this well, but the Panthers execute so well.
Yeah.
Like the Panthers do not often touch the puck, especially on defensive zone breakouts, for more than like a second. And it's like, even if Matt Nyes is all over Alex Barkov, right? Because that lineup, they were like, that's one thing I'll say is like they matched the lines where it was Matthews' line against Barkov's line. And I didn't notice either guy on either line. They kind of neutralized each other, right? I didn't really notice Barkov all that much. But the point I'm trying to make is like, even if you have someone draped all over Alex Barkov, he finds a way to just shove you off for a split second, put a little tiny 5-foot pass away from you, and there's someone there to get it, and it's out of the zone. Toronto just seemed to go, okay, we're going to push to the blue line. There's nothing there. We're going to go back. Oh, we're going to pass it to the other defenseman. We're going to push to the blue line.
Chris Tanev has the puck. He's going to wait 8 seconds, take a hit, and then try to get the puck up.
Like the number of minutes that the Toronto Maple Leafs, I looked at the game sheet after, the number of minutes the Toronto Maple Leafs held onto the puck was almost equivalent to the number of minutes that the Florida Panthers touched the puck last night. But the number of minutes that the Florida Panthers had the puck in the offensive zone for the Toronto Maple Leafs was 60% longer. That's inexcusable. That's like inexcusable stuff. Like you have, and that's the part where I'm sort of sitting here going like, Mitch Marner is like a very capable hockey player, and Austin Matthews is still Austin Matthews, I guess. But like
he is.
These are the games where like it's how they lose. That's the thing everybody's saying. It's like it's not that they lost, it's how they lost. It's like if you took maybe not Austin Matthews, I don't know. Either way, it doesn't matter. Like they have had so many kicks at the can that even me, I'm sitting here going like, if it actually is in their minds, like they come to Toronto and they just can't handle the thought of playing in front of those fans in a situation like even game 5, like they laid an egg in game 5, right? And they lost by the exact same margin in game 7. Like if they can't come into Toronto and like handle that, then that's like legitimate, like just mental weakness. Like I don't know how else you spin that.
No, it's fine.
Because
I think that's a fair point to make.
Because at the end of the day, like you are a professional athlete, and it is, I don't know, like if they went out there and in game 5, it was a 4-3 overtime loss. And then last night was like 3-1 with an empty netter. And it was like, they were out shooting them and Bobrovsky was incredible and all this stuff.
The sky wouldn't be falling down the same way.
The sky would not be falling down. And like, oh my goodness, Sergei Bobrovsky is incredible. Like we've been through that song and dance before, but it wasn't. These guys are, Austin Matthews is 27, 27, something like that. Like these guys are not kids, right? And the thought for me was like Craig Berube is going to kind of come in and be like, it's on you guys now. Like you guys have to prove to the world that you can do this. You are the guys. Like Austin Matthews, highest paid player in the league. Like I know he's been a good sort of 200-foot guy for them now. And like I think the skill and the speed of his game is still there. But that's not enough.
It's like, not enough, but at the same time, like they don't have any guys lower in the lineup that they play.
That's the bigger issue. Yeah.
That actually give him an opportunity. Like all they have to do is focus on him. All they have to do is focus on shutting down him, like the top 2 lines.
It's true.
They don't have to worry about line 3 and line 4 because line 3 and line 4 have no offense. It never does.
Matthews is getting skewered for saying that there were passengers last night when he was a guy who didn't have anything on the board really. And that's, I think, partially legitimate. Like partially, I think you can't have the captain going in front of the media and basically coming off like he's throwing the team under the bus. But he's not wrong. Like that team, again, like the one guy who scored a goal in game 5, they benched. Max Domi scored. And I feel like when Toronto needed a spark in the playoffs this year, Max Domi was often being the guy who kind of helped do it. But that's because when you and I would agree, we watch Max Domi, and it's like, yeah, he's flawed for sure.
He's got flaws, but he's fast and he's got pace.
He's a fast third.
And no, the fourth line was not better. No, they weren't. Dude, in the comments, you're just wrong. Okay. They were all ass. They were all ass. They were not better. You just have a warped expectation of what the top line's going to do. No, Scott Laughton was terrible. I don't care that he tried his ass off. He can't move. He's like molasses on skates.
Well, and the other thing too is like zoom out, right? The Toronto Maple Leafs this season, we talked about it a few weeks ago. The Toronto Maple Leafs this year got outshot and won a lot.
Yeah.
That's not a winning combination. Anthony Stolarz goes down with an injury and the wheels come off. Like,
but not quite, like, I don't even know if it was just that. It's just when they're at home and when that building turns against them, because I will admit the building is ass. All right. But the whole idea that fan pressure is a problem beyond like the building, because like, well, it's just panic in that build.
That's not an excuse.
It's not. No, it's not an excuse. But it's way harder to come back when you don't have the support of the crowd. Like, it is way easier to just lose it mentally. It's not an excuse. They need to play a style of play that's going to allow that building to get into it instead of being under siege and you watch and the civilians of the capital city watch as the Mongolian army slaughter the women and children. Okay? Like, that's what that panic feels like in that building.
Yeah.
Because they're not on the attack. They're not aggressive at all.
I don't know.
It's fixable. It is so fixable, and it is so plainly obvious to me that all these guys really have to do is play a style of game where they're actually pushing the pace and taking it to the other team, where they're not sitting in their own end, where they can actually move the puck and get something going in transition. Like, it's just ridiculous. It's ridiculous that you think you can sit in your own end and you're not the Italian national team, all right? You can't just win like that. You don't have Gigi Buffon in net, and you don't have Gianluigi Donnarumma in net. Like, they're still good goalies, but at least the Italian national team had Leonardo Bonucci to play the ball up and do the long ball, and there was actually something that would happen with it, and they had a strong counterattack. The only counterattack they have is William Nylander and Max Domi when he shoots the puck.
I just don't know, because if it was even a competent performance, like I get it. Look, like Austin Matthews out there, sure, he may have neutralized Alex Barkov, but that's not enough, right? Like you're the highest paid guy in the league. You're a 60 goal scorer, like
69,
whatever, right? Like, you have done these things, and so and it is undeniable that the first half of these series are when things are great, and when it comes to closing them out, it is astounding how bad like a lot of these numbers are for them. Like, it is astounding. And I don't like, to me, it, like, you're saying it's so easy to fix the problem, but I don't think it is, because I think the issue is that these guys just are not mentally equipped, toughness wise, to come into an arena in a game 7. Like, again, like, is it too much pressure? Well, what about
shouldn't be.
If you're playing for Manchester, like, City, or like, what if you're playing for like the French, like the Italian national team? Like, the
Italian national team does crumble sometimes, to be fair.
But exactly. But like, if you're playing in the World Cup, there's a billion people watching that game.
Yeah.
Like, you want to talk about pressure? That's pressure. Like, 18,000 people in a stadium, and I mean, I guess they were the only game on TV, so there might have been a few million people watching that game, but still, it's not like you're still on an ice sheet with people. And again, like, I don't blame the fans at all. Like, I don't blame the fans at all for turning on them and going, "What the hell are you doing?" Like, it was like, game 5 was already embarrassing enough.
No, it's fair.
And then so to me, it's like, they just seem, it's almost as if a guy like Mitch Marner is like, I love wearing the Leaf jersey, but it's like, if this works, then great, but if it doesn't, whatever. Like, I don't know how else to, like, because it's like, fantastic player, right?
Yeah.
There's tons of evidence that he's a fantastic player, but how many times have we been here? Too many. And I know, the depth is not amazing, and I do agree, like, the decisions they have made and the players they've added, like, the pursuit of character
for a first round pick, and like,
even Scott Laughton was okay, but he wasn't a difference maker.
No,
like, nothing tilted the game away from the Panthers, because and the other thing too, like, look at the Panthers roster too. The Panthers roster is filled with just guys they found. It's not like they had to go out and spend $12 million on Mitch Marner to get good.
Talent wise, these two teams are equal. Like, it's not
like what's his name?
Sam
Seth
Bennett
Jones. Seth Jones. Everybody thought Seth Jones was one of the worst. Everybody saw the Jay Fresh cards. He's one of the worst players in the entire league. Doesn't look like it in the Panthers jersey.
No, because
who is Gustav Forsling? Who is Nico Mikkola? Like, who are these guys?
Mikola is just still a guy, but the
I
rest.
mean, I noticed him far more than I noticed a guy like OEL in the last few
Well,
games. Like,
yeah, and OEL was on
that's the
that team and
problem.
won a Stanley Cup because of
But
play
that's
style.
that's the point. Like, like what is really going on here? Because I just I don't know.
I think.
Because if
Yeah,
I
go
just
ahead.
don't know what you do. Because I feel like
Is it that
obviously
you
I think
don't know what you do, or is it that you have no faith in the management to do the right thing?
both. Like I because I feel like the only like I don't think that the guys making all the money have earned the right to direct which way the team should go if they believe that there is something missing. I don't think they've earned that right. And because again, like it's not that they're bad players. It's just that when
Mhm.
another like I said this last night to the friend of mine who I was watching the game with. It's like there is a I've watched a shite load of hockey in a year.
Yeah,
There is a very big difference between talent and competitiveness.
yeah,
And I look at the draft eligible guys all the time and I go, yeah, there's lots of talent out there. There's lots of that out there. But competitiveness, it's why I value guys who play men's hockey so much because it's competitive. These guys are playing for money. It's their job, right? Like and so for Toronto to have guys who are that talented, but then they face a competitive team like Florida who are doing everything you say they're doing, which
yeah.
is true, and they don't just like lose. They get kicked and then stabbed and thrown out of a window
Yeah,
and
it's
then
they get
someone comes
slaughtered
along on a
by they
bicycle and
get
pees on them.
dude, they get
Like it
slaughtered by the Mongol horde. That's what it is.
yeah, it's just brutal. And so I feel like it's way more like honestly, like I am not surprised if Mitch Marner just goes, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm done.
I would
I'd
get it.
rather I would rather someone's going to offer him $13 million a year
Yeah, probably
and
more if as
and
you were
probably
saying.
more. And he like I mean, I at the very least would see who calls me on July 1st, right? Like who's going to call me? And you know, yeah, you'll be going to somewhere where there's less pressure probably, right?
Well,
I mean,
yeah.
maybe.
No, absolutely. There's not a more pressure-filled market than Toronto, and
I
I
mean,
believe
but
that.
like well,
Unless
but
you
like
go to
let's say well, hang on,
Vancouver,
hang
all
on.
right?
Let's say he goes to Chicago and Chicago has Connor Bedard, they have all these young players. They go to the playoffs next year, lose in round 1. Everyone goes, "Okay, they're learning, whatever." The next year they lose in round 1 again. Then they lose again. Then they lose again. Then they lose again. You don't think the Chicago Blackhawks fans are going to start turning on them at that point? Like
Well, of course.
right. So it is possible for there to like when the Leafs went to the playoffs in
But like
2017 and played Washington,
I don't
no
think
pressure,
yeah, but I just don't
right?
think it's like an individual player that's the problem. I just think it's the play style and the mindset of this team. You
I
just
think it's
have to
both.
attack.
I think it's both.
But I feel
Nobody on that team was attacking last night. Not a soul. There, not a single per. I couldn't. Like the numbers just
William
do not
Nylander at the
support them.
beginning, to be fair.
Okay,
I have to
I
I have
love
to
William Nylander to death. I don't want him ever to go anywhere. He should be in Toronto for the rest of his
yeah,
career.
and he
But
probably will
that,
be.
but that game, generally in the playoffs, he's been their most consistent
Yeah.
guy. That was not one of his. That was not one of his best
No,
nights.
no, it
You
wasn't.
know,
But
and
he does consistently go out there and give you a lot. Whether or not he scores, he gives you
yeah,
a lot of opportunities. And he did that at least at the start of the game, and he did that throughout the entirety of the playoffs. Like I feel like he's the only person that should be able to steer the direction of this team the way he goes
I would
out there
agree.
and plays.
And I think William Nylander, to his benefit, has the type of personality that works in Toronto. He
Yes.
genuinely seems to just either relish in the opportunity of playing here and deal with the noise. He seems to be one of the few guys to come here and genuinely seem to come off like he enjoys it. And I've said this on the show before. It seems like the guys on Toronto, they play like even the better half of the household noticed this. And we've said the same thing for years in
Yeah.
this household. It's like when things get tough, they play like they don't know each other. They play like they don't even like each other. They play like they can't wait to go home. And it's like that I don't you and I have watched a lot of the playoffs this year. I can't
Yeah.
tell you a single series where I've gotten the same feeling from any team
Nope.
when their back is against the wall.
Nope.
So to me, it's like that isn't necessarily just their style of play. Like I just think that there are players on this team who they need to rely on who do not have the capability of dealing with a moment like that. At least when they're in Toronto. And I think that it's gotten to the point like the game 5 and 7 of this past series were probably maybe the most embarrassing 2 games of the entire era with these guys. Like I can't think of another pair of games where I'm leaving watching those games going like that didn't look like an NHL team in a game where they needed to win that one or would have really helped them, right? And that is problematic that it's this late into their run, and it makes me think that like once they start feeling like, oh my god, it's happening again, it's just doomed. And so I don't know what you do to fix it. I don't think you're going to make this team better if Marner walks.
Well, of
I don't,
course not.
I don't
You have to
think
try
it's
like
gonna,
hell to re-sign all those 3 guys: Tavares, Marner, Nyes. Like you have to try and get them all
or
back, and you have to revamp what you're doing play style wise. You
or
really
having
do.
some sort of wild reboot in what like the vibes are like there. Cuz again, I don't know. I mean,
And
look,
it's not,
I don't
and he
know.
does not mean chasing character guys, all right? Because
No,
they have
no, that's not what I'm
tried
saying.
this garbage every year. They've traded, it's like they've added another captain every single year to this team, and it
Yeah.
means nothing. Just because you've won a Stanley Cup or you've captained a team does not mean dick, okay? It means nothing to me at this point. Craig Berube, the St. Louis Blues, and I'm sorry to Blues fans, that was one of the flukiest cup wins of all time, all right? You can't win the way that they play. The Leafs try and emulate a play style, like a winning play style of a team in the 1960s instead of trying to try and being like the teams that have won the last 3 cups. Think about Colorado. Insanely fast team with a lot of pace and a lot of tenacity. Vegas Golden Knights, super deep, scoring everywhere in that lineup. They just score all the time, but they're also really fast and really intense. The Florida Panthers, really fast, really intense. They come at you hard, and they just pound you into submission. And that's what they did. They pounded them into submission.
Um like the thing that also crossed my mind watching that game too is over the years they have given up a name your price offer sheet amount
Two
of first round picks
losers.
for Nick Foligno, Brandon Carlo, Scott Lawton, and there's one more in there who they rented at the
I
deadline.
mean,
Ryan
Brandon Carlo
O'Reilly.
was decent, and Ryan
Right,
O'Reilly
but
was decent, but like, you don't give up your future for this.
right. But like what I'm saying is like what if Toronto 4 years ago had gone out and blown a huge amount of money on some huge end offer sheet and lost all their first round picks that they then traded away for other guys. Like I don't know, like they traded those picks all away for guys. Like
For
Carlos fine,
guys
he was terrible last night.
who they retain for cheap
Like
because
McCabe is the one that I think sticks out where I'm like that's a player that I could see, but is he a 30-minute a night guy in an overtime playoff
no,
game? I'm not sure, right?
he's a second pair solid dependable guy
Yeah.
that
And I
you
mean
have for cheap.
I was talking to someone in the league today actually about it because I was just curious. I was like, "Did you see the game last night?" He goes, "Yeah." And I'm like, "What happened there? Do you think? Like, just give me. I'm not, I'm not going to tell you what I think." And he goes, "I think people are focused on the wrong thing. Like, people are focused on the core 4. They're focused on Matthews." He's like, "But when I watched that game last night, I saw Matthews winning battles, and nobody else was. I saw
Yeah.
Mitch Marner making some good passes or some good reads. Nobody else was." And he goes, that doesn't excuse them, right? But it does show that the rest of that team they're not that good at this sport. And he goes, I have had the belief for a little while. And this is also a person who admittedly is not in Toronto. Like he's not a Leaf fan. This is a different universe, right? And he's going, watching that team over the years, he's like, I just think they fundamentally don't get it. I think they just don't understand what that team actually needs. I think they know what they need, and they go out and they try to get it and shoehorn it in. And when it doesn't work, they go, well, we just have to try harder. And now you end up with like a bunch of league replacement level
Yeah.
guys who can, insulate uh the puck and hold on to the puck an extra second more than someone like a Nick Robertson could, which is, oh, fair enough, right? But like that's what they're going to bring you. And I mean, look, Mr. Canadian Bong Ripper, that's not my point, right? Like I know I've said that already in this show that Matthews is paid more to do that.
Yeah.
But in the context of that game, when he was matched up against Florida's top line, a Stanley Cup champion top line,
With
he
two, isn't it
was,
with two Selke nominees
yeah,
on that line
yeah,
as well? Like,
yep.
let's not
He
forget
was at
that.
least, he was at least like he was at least performing in a certain area of the game
Yeah, like, do
that
you remember seeing
nobody
Sam
else was.
Reinhart and Alex Barkov doing a ton in the last game? I'll
Yeah,
be honest. I turned off the game after 3-0 because
yeah.
I knew where it was headed. I did the same thing in game 5. But like honestly, there's nothing that like it was a neutralized performance, and then you hope that the rest of your roster can provide something
Yeah.
because you
I
have two of the top guys in the league shutting each other down and keeping it like a net neutral.
Yes.
But
I
other than Max Domi, because he brings some speed and some offensive pop that way, there's nothing. There's nothing. And Max Pacioretty's good, but he's a complimentary shooter at this point. And then
to
the rest of them are nothing. They're
yeah,
nothing.
to say this, to speak to the point about Matthews as well, like he better they're like, I think it was I forget who it was, but they were talking last night about how it's like at this point it's like on you as a player and as a leader in Toronto to tell people what is going on with your body. Because if Austin Matthews is like, I actually had 3 shoulder surgeries in the last 12 months and I can't score anymore, I'd be like, that makes sense. That explains a lot about how he's playing. Because if he's just, or if Craig Berube is in his ear being like, bro, you're 6'3", you're skilled, you're a strong skater. Why are you scoring goals all the time? If that, and if he's going, you should be a Selke winning, neutralizing top end
If
center.
that's what Craig
And
Berube's saying, he should be fired. I'm
but that's what
sorry.
I'm saying. Like, if that's what he's doing to Austin Matthews, then that's really problematic.
He should
But we
be
don't know.
fired if
Like,
that's what he's
but we don't
saying.
know, right? We don't know. So I don't know. Like, is he? Like he disappeared this season and ended up in Germany and they never explained it or talked about it, right? Like, which on one hand I can kind of understand, but why? Like at this
Well,
point,
I think he
like
tries to be
everyone's
very
turned
private
on you.
about his injuries just because, like, I mean, that is a private thing, I think. But, like, I also get where you're coming from.
It's but like I guess he's like it's like you had a run there where he was far and away the best player in the league at earning goal scoring chances at 5-on-5. Like
Yeah.
it wasn't even close. That has gone away. And now he is a very, very good transition 200-foot center who has some goal scoring ability, which is not enough. So is that injuries causing that and he's just degraded over his career? Or is it Berube coming in and being like, no, we're going to turn you into a hockey player now?
He's
Or is it
also
both? I don't know.
he also kind of has like these, like, I've found the years when on alternating years, he comes back and he scores like an insane amount of goals, and then the next year it's a down year goal wise, and it's like, and the injuries come back, which
Right.
sucks.
So
I
I don't
get it.
know.
It's tough. It's a tough one with him.
It's just like if they were losing every series every year in overtime of a game 7 and it was a hard fought thing and they just
Yeah.
couldn't get over
If
the
it
hump.
wasn't if it
If
wasn't
that's what it
them
was,
shitting their
then
pants in the
yeah.
most mega diarrhea way possible, where it just like ends up all over the wall and you're like,
Yeah.
uh-oh.
Yeah.
If it wasn't like
Yeah.
that, we
And
wouldn't
I
be
agree.
freaking
I
out.
mean, Matthews with 4 goals in 22 playoff games is not acceptable. Like you're right.
Yeah.
You're correct,
Yeah.
right? But the other side of that argument is, and this NHL person was saying the same thing. It's like maybe the discussion of Matthews as a veteran, because that's what he is now, the discussion about what Matthews is as a veteran needs to shift. And he just isn't that guy anymore, right? Which, whether it's injuries or the coach or just him growing up, I don't know.
I would give it
But if
another
that's
year because
but
like
if that's
he's
the
coming off
case,
he's coming off like the year before he scored 69 goals and he was chasing 70. If it happens again next year, then I think we can.
but the thing I would say to that though is it doesn't matter. He could score 70 goals next year, but if he can't score goals in the playoffs, like that's not
No, it's
like
fair.
he's scored 5 or more goals in the playoffs 2 times ever. Like
Sure.
5, right?
Sure.
And one of them was in 2019, the other one was in 2023. He had 3 this year, 1 last year, then 5-4-1-2, 5-1-4. Like that's
No, it's not good enough.
like if you can and so it's like that's the problem that people bring up. Like that's the issue.
But for the most part, he's still scoring. Like this year, he was scoring. He finished 1 point under a point per game, I think, or 2 points under a point per game. And like,
Sure.
yeah, he's not always scoring goals necessarily, but like he's still providing in a big way. I still firmly believe that it is primarily a play style problem with this team. I'm going to beat that drum until they change it. And when they don't, I'm going to continue to say the reason they never won is because of it. Because I really do believe it. The Florida Panthers were also a team that choked like crazy in the first round. And when they changed their play style to emulate what they're doing now, they turn into a Stanley Cup team, a team that's gone to the finals twice in the last 2 years and won the damn thing. Because the way you play matters. And in order to get that building, because the building, like you have to get that you're building into the game, especially the way the Leafs are. You have to get it into the game because those fans just, they sag. They sag after one goal goes against them. You need a lot of chances and you need to feel like you're in control and your fans need to feel that too in order to like really push you over the edge.
Well,
because
the
morale
thing.
matters and confidence
here,
matters.
The thing is, I was born and raised in Toronto, for anyone who doesn't know. And the thing is, like, Toronto people are insane about hockey. Like,
Yeah.
Toronto Maple Leafs fans, I'm not saying that other fan bases aren't crazy about hockey, but Toronto fans are, I wouldn't say it's necessarily that. I mean, part of it is they are on a razor's edge of disappointment all the time. That's part of the issue. But I mean, I think that's a reputation that's rightfully earned at this point. But on the other hand, it's like they know that when they are sitting and watching a hockey game, a lot of the time they're watching the team and it's just not that exciting.
No.
The Leafs this season did not play a very exciting style of play.
Awful.
There's no,
so
I don't,
dreadful
I've
to
said
watch.
it before. I've said it before, but like watching this team is, and watching other teams. I've watched a lot of the NHL, especially in the playoffs. I try to watch the NHL during the season as much as I can. And I try to watch other teams and like look at the vibes the Carolina Hurricanes have. Like they play like a team. They play like a group of guys who love each other and they're hard. They play hard. They're physical, but they have skill and they show up
and they pepper you. They pepper you with chances because.
But like, I just mean like energy wise. Like energy wise, the energy around the team is always so fun and like energetic and the fans, that bleeds into the fan base. Whereas here, again, it's like they're trying to be the Boston Bruins or trying to be the Florida
They're just
Panthers,
trying to suck the life out of everything and like make this business type of thing where like they're all serious.
Well, they're trying
just go
to
out
like
there and win and have fun, man. Like just go out there and do your thing instead of sitting back and just absorbing all the pressure.
The way I see it is that there are teams out there who, let's say, found a collector's edition print of Citizen Kane somewhere. And they're like, look at how much money I've made because I did the research. I found it. I got it. I own this thing. And the Toronto Maple Leafs come in and they're like, boy, if we could find one of those, that would just be awesome. And then they go to Walmart, buy a DVD, and they're like, we have Citizen Kane too. And someone's like, I'll give you 40 cents for that. And they're like, oh, wait a minute. What? Like, that doesn't work? Like, but that guy has a a really valuable print of Citizen Kane. Like we have Citizen Kane too. It's like, yeah, but it's not like you're looking for something that isn't there. And so I just think that and over the years, I feel like they've gone further and further away from the identity that I thought they were really onto when Dubas was pretty new, which was like they were trying to be this offensive, aggressive, fast team
Yeah.
that had skill up and down the lineup. The defense was an issue at the time for sure. The goaltending was hot and cold, but
Yeah.
at the end of the day, you knew the identity that that team was bringing, and it was exciting. Now I go to we went to a Leaf game, and they were playing the Panthers, and it was boring. Like a
Yeah.
lot of that game was boring, and the environment also was not so awesome, I will say. But at the end of the day, like it's like an emotional thing. I don't like the idea of blaming the fans because the fans are a reflection of what you give them. That like you can't just ask the fans to behave a certain way, except for like, hey, maybe don't throw stuff on the ice, especially while the game is actually going on. Like that's extremely disrespectful and crazy. But that's neither here nor there. That's when you can kind of tell the fans to behave a certain way. But outside of that, you can't go, geez, I really wish these corporate sponsorships would go away and more fans would get lower bowl tickets. It's like, well, I'm sorry, but like
That's not how reality works.
that's not how the world is, right? Like you're barking up the wrong tree there, man. Like
You
go
want to
out
buy those
and
tickets for all the pores
yeah,
of the
yeah, like
who like the
yeah,
Toronto Maple Leafs?
that's just professional sports, dog. That's how this works. So that's not changing. And so
Make
I
your
just
team more fun, make it more energetic, and get the crowd into it instead of having them be insanely tense the entire time. And then, like, I think my favorite thing about that whole game is when Sportsnet panned to that guy after the third goal, and you could just see
yeah.
the look up.
Yeah.
That made me laugh so much. Just that guy's like, no,
On the verge of
no."
tears.
Yeah, he's like, he's crying. I'm like, dude,
Dude, welcome to the
you
world.
gotta make it more fun.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
there was a
yeah.
comment about, do the Leafs play too much of a skill game in the playoffs? No, they don't play enough of a skill game in the playoffs to an
Well, yeah.
extent. Like, yeah, they do look for cute passes, I agree, but it's like they don't lean into what makes them good. They lean into the most mundane, like, oh, we're gonna be tough to play against. Oh, nothing easy.
If I hear that all
Character,
summer about the Leafs are tougher to play against, I'm gonna scream.
Yeah,
Like
they're not. It means
draft
nothing.
analysts talking about a player making it tough to play against them. It's like, yeah, like look, the Carolina Hurricanes have Jackson Blake on the fourth line. You know, they've got Kotkaniemi on the fourth line. Like these guys can move.
Yeah.
You know, Will Carrier can move. Jordan Martinook can move. Like they go and they play hard and they play quickly, right? That's they
You know what
they
the
got
answer
Logan
is, Will?
Stankoven.
You know what the answer is, Will?
Yes.
A third line with Fabian Lysell on it, all right? That
Oh,
is the end. No,
Jesus.
not entirely, but players like him, okay? And I won't back down from that. You need guys who go out there and just don't give two poo-poos, all right?
Hey, we'll
Like,
see what happens. It's
But I feel like I do feel like we've kind of talked this to death
Yes,
here.
I
I
was
did
just
see a
about to
thing.
say.
I did see a thing about should the Leafs side Brad Marchand? No, it's not going to change anything.
dude, those press conferences from the Florida Panthers after that game last night were like, mwah. They were just ultimate twisting the knife trolling. Like, I don't know how it couldn't have been serious. Like Matthew Tkachuk being on Spit and Chicklets today, talking about how the fan pressure's so heavy. If these guys played on any other team, they would be winning the cup every year. And they're such a good team. They're such a good team. This, and this. It's like you're pumping your own tires at that point, I feel like, because you pumped them for 12 goals at home in 2 straight games. Like anyway, it's been a fun, it's at the point, at this point, it's been kind of just like, you have to laugh. Like, you're just like, I don't know what they're going to do, but
I'm worried, but we'll see, you know?
Yeah. Like, yeah, I don't know. Did you want to, for the last 15 minutes, cover the Carolina Washington thing? Like, or or just go straight into questions. I mean,
Oh, well,
Washington did what we thought they were going to. They lost to Carolina.
oh,
Carolina's
I
now in the
thought
conference
I
final.
put previewing
Oh yeah, yeah. Okay,
other
let's do
series.
that.
We
Let's
could
do
just
that.
preview.
We got 15, 20 minutes. Let's do a preview of these series coming up here.
Yep,
Uh, I mean, we were just talking about Florida, so maybe Florida, Carolina.
sure.
This one is going to be the both of these series are going to be fun, but I'm particularly
Sweep like it always is for Florida.
you got to hope it isn't. Frederick Anderson is a bit of a wild card always. Bobrovsky has kind of not been a wild card.
Yeah, and he generally
Unless Nick
bounces
Robertson's
back.
playing. What?
He generally bounces back from a bad performance as
Yeah.
well.
Yep.
I think Florida wins because as much as I love Carolina, I do think that ultimately they shoot a little too much and they're a little too aggressive with what they do. Maybe not too aggressive, but like they're too trigger happy. That's what I'm looking for personally.
Yeah, I think I would agree. I think I'm going to give Florida the edge, but I don't think it's going to be a sweep. Like I feel like Carolina.
6 games?
Yeah, like I love the Hurricanes. I really would love to see them make a cup final.
Absolutely.
You know, like Stankoven, my son going into the Stanley Cup final potentially against the team that traded him away would be pretty cool. They got a fun team. They got a bunch of young guys who are looking pretty good as well. Like they got some fun stuff going on.
Oh,
But
well, you know what we did
yes.
forget because we got so caught up in the Leafs game? We forgot about
What
a
did we
super
forget?
chat that happened while we were in the middle of
Oh
it.
yes,
So
yes,
let's
we
actually just
did.
get to
Okay,
that
let's do
quickly.
that.
Sorry,
Yeah,
Mitch. We really appreciate
yeah.
you, our Aussie friend.
Things are moving along here a little bit mentally. But yes, it is Leafs elimination day. Yep, it's a good time. I want to know your thoughts on Yarmir Perez. Holy smokes. So Yarmir Perez, if anyone doesn't know, is I think a 21-year-old Czech Spanish guy
That's cool.
playing in the Czech top division. And I saw him early in the year because he was doing pretty good numbers. And I don't know if I would draft a guy like him. Like he's a really skilled player and I think plays a pretty high end style of play, but like I don't think I think that it's not quite enough to really at his age project to the NHL super well, but like if someone took a swing on him late, it wouldn't surprise me. But to me, he's more of a guy that I might look as a free agent in a couple of years. But I wouldn't be surprised to see him become a pretty serious fixture in the Czech league, at least for the next little while. Uh, what's the best fast food milkshake? I will admit I'm not a big milkshake guy,
I like
honestly.
Apache burgers, but that's
I
because
don't
I'm an
think I've had
Apache.
those.
Because
Yeah,
I'm
I
an
mean that's
Apache
what
burger
you're
guy.
out there. Yeah, for me, I mean, I don't think I really have a good answer there. Oh, you know what I will say? It's not. I mean, it is kind of fast food, but there's a diner at the side of the road in Nova Scotia along the east coast on the southeast side of the province. I can't remember the name of it, but it's like an old wooden shack, and they do really good milkshakes there. They do all kinds of flavors. So if you ever find yourself in this very specific little pocket of Canada, and you drive by this wooden structure that looks like a diner out of the 50s that got bombed, uh,
Okay.
that's a good spot to get a milkshake. I'll tell you that. There's that. So coming from a person who's not a big milkshake guy, that's where I would go.
Alrighty, and we'll get back to it.
So Florida, Carolina. Yeah, I think Florida in 6 makes sense, but I'm pulling for Carolina, but Florida also, you gotta, if you're a Toronto person, you gotta give credit to the Panthers.
Yeah.
They are good. Like they play their way top to bottom of the lineup. I couldn't identify a single person on Florida where I'm like, why is this guy on the team? Right? Like I love Evan Rodriguez. You know, I mean, Sam Bennett does his thing. Sam Reinhart, Alex Barkov, that Marshawn Lusterinen, Lundell line ate
Gross.
them alive. It was insane. You know, I think that is a team that could easily take this and win. But I mean, hey, Carolina winning wouldn't surprise me, but I think it's going to be Florida, and I think 6 is a reasonable estimate.
Yeah. Carolina is
You know?
like the only really not to like diss Washington that hard and New Jersey, but like
Right.
we all knew it was Carolina. We all knew it was Carolina because there's no Jack Hughes for New Jersey, and as much as I like Spencer Carberry, like the Washington Capitals were a solid team, but not
Well,
enough.
he squeezed a lot out of that group.
Yeah.
Like, he got a lot out of them, and
It's
I think
almost like he should have been the goddamn coach of the Toronto Maple Leafs when he
Yeah.
fixed the power play and made it the best in the league. You buffoon.
Yeah, it's
You buffoon, Shanahan.
He got a lot out of those guys. That team played well for who they were as a group. Like, and he's done a really good job with guys like McMichael in Washington.
Yeah.
So, like, you know, all credit to them for how far they got. But, like, yeah, Carolina is just a top to bottom
Just
silly,
fun. Just so much
fun, you know. And Florida, though, it's going to be a slog. Like, this series, I think, is going to be a slog of physicality and speed and just every, like, back and forth hockey. I would not be surprised at that at all, because Carolina does not hesitate, unlike the Toronto Maple Leafs. They often found themselves hesitating.
All right, I'm done talking about.
Yeah, Detroit. So do you want to
come
flip
back
over?
up?
Yeah, do you want to flip over
To
to
Dallas and
Dallas, Edmonton before
Sure.
questions? These teams, have these guys played recently together? I can't remember.
They played last year in the conference finals.
That's what I thought. So it's a conference final rematch. I mean, look, the Oilers ran through the Golden Knights. So there's that.
I think Dallas is gonna win the Stanley Cup, so I have to pick Dallas. And I'm gonna bet against the Oilers for a third straight series. Prove me wrong, Connor. Prove me wrong. But I love him. Look, the truth is, he's the one proving me wrong.
I think it will become a story of who's down the lineup that shows up for both of these teams. Like, who, you know, McDavid, you know what you're going to get. Draisaitl, you know what you're going to get. Bouchard, you know what you're going to get. On Dallas, you know what you're going to get out of a bunch of those guys too.
But, like, Dallas is awesome in every position. Like, they're awesome everywhere. Edmonton
they are.
is not.
No. But you could also say the same thing about the Vegas Golden Knights. And
yeah, but Dallas is better. They're better, man. Their goaltending is better than Vegas
That's
is.
true.
Their defense is better than Vegas is, and their forwards are better than Vegas is. So, like,
Ottinger's been really, really good
pack a
for
punch.
sure.
Like, really, like, my prediction was the team that won Colorado, Dallas, was gonna win the cup. That was I thought I picked Colorado originally because of all the injuries to Dallas, but, like, Dallas with all these guys, now that they've come back, they have 2 number 1 defensemen. They have 2 number 1 defensemen on their team, man. Like, it's ridiculous.
But
Mikko Rantanen's insane. Yeah, I get it. Edmonton has the best player in the world, and maybe Matthias Ekholm comes back, but, like, it's so hard, man, to, like, beat, in my opinion, the best team in the league right now, and that's Dallas.
I like to cheer for stories.
That's fine.
And for me, the Oilers, Connor McDavid, these boys, Connor McDavid finally dragging that organization through hell and high water to a Stanley Cup championship would be so lovely. I mean, again,
hey,
this
Canadian
but like,
bong ripper.
but
Hold
like,
on. I gotta respond to this. No, not everybody picked Dallas to beat Edmonton. I had such a good bracket last year. I got 3 things wrong the entire time.
That's true. He did. That's true. He's not lying.
I got the cup winner right. I got the finalists right. The things I got wrong were the Leafs going out in round 1. I thought they would at least go to round 2 and lose. And I got the conference. The Rangers went to the conference finals, which I did not think was going to happen. I thought Carolina would beat them.
Yep.
And I think there was one other series that I'm not remembering. But either way.
I mean, the thing too is, as much as I would love the Oilers to do this, I mean, look, they still are rocking Stu Skinner in net. And yes, he finished that Vegas series insanely good. Like, literally couldn't have been better.
Yeah.
But is that going to continue? Because Jake Ottinger has been really, really good too.
Yeah.
Like, for the Dallas Stars. And if there's a goaltending mismatch at this point in the playoffs, that can be problematic.
Defense mismatch.
Like,
that's
if
the
there's
problem.
a goaltending and defending mismatch, then that could be problematic.
And also,
I mean,
cheer for stories. Mikko Rantanen going to another team.
Yes.
Eliminating the team that traded him.
That's true.
And then going to the Stanley Cup Finals and winning with Dallas for, like, this would be Dallas's first cup since, what, 1999, if I'm not mistaken?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So like the year before I was born, that would be nuts.
Oh my god, I remember watching that Stanley Cup Final, man. That goal, like, because it was
Go
against Buffalo,
goal. Yeah.
and that dude, Dominic Hasek on that playoff run, like, if there's a YouTube compilation of Dominic Hasek taking the Sabres to the Stanley Cup Final in 1999, it's worth watching because he's the most incredible hockey player I think that has ever existed. Not necessarily
Goalie,
the
right?
best of all time, but yeah, like, well, but I mean, like, in terms of sitting down and watching an entertaining player, I don't know if there's anyone more entertaining.
Do you
Like,
think it would actually like his style of play would work against the modern competition, or is like Marc-Andre Fleury the personification of that in today's game?
well, I don't know because, like, I mean, the guy I think that comes the closest in this day and age is maybe Askarov in San Jose. Like, he's a bit of a crazy person, but like, I don't think there is a goalie coach in the entire world who would be cool with raising kids who play goalie to play like Dominic Hasek. I don't think that exists. And it's also like Dominic Hasek had something going on with his chromosomes in his body where his cartilage and his muscles were literally made out of Play-Doh. Like, I don't understand how he did
I
some
think
of the
he's
things he
also
did.
just an insanely fiery dude as well. Like
That
he's
too,
just
yeah. I
like
mean,
he's just wired kind of insane, but like
Tim
I
Thomas
mean it in a
probably
good way to an
Tim
extent.
Thomas is probably the next thing to him when Tim Thomas was really humming along. That I think because he also was like Dominic Hasek would come out to the blue line and challenge entries and just hit guys if he needed to. Like, he would dive at the puck 60 feet from the net, right? Like, what, it makes no sense, but it got the job done clearly. And I don't know. But anyway, we're getting besides the point here, right? But like, I just remember that Stanley Cup final and hoping that Hasek could just carry them a little further. But the Dallas Stars of that era with Brett Hull and Mike Modano and Neuendijk and Lettinen and all those guys, Zubov and Hatcher even, and was it Marty Turco or Ed Belfour in net? Someone in net who was also sick. Just craziness. Anyway,
So who you picking?
I say Edmonton in 7.
I
I
say
think Edmonton in
Dallas
7.
in 7.
Okay. Okay. It was Ed Belfour, by the way, in net for the Dallas Stars, his second Stanley Cup Finals appearance. Yeah, I mean, anything else before we move on to questions for the night? Because yeah,
All
we got
right.
plenty of good hockey left in the season, though. I'll tell you that much.
This
I don't
is
think we're.
this is
You got to
my
stay paying attention to this one.
this is my message to Mitch Marner. So Mitch, if you do listen
Ah.
to this, please come back. I love
Could you
you.
imagine?
Please come
Could you
back. I love you.
imagine?
Please. Just please, man.
Oh,
Just come back.
I'm just imagining Mitch Marner in his Land Rover going, you know what, AJ? You're right. I think I will stay.
Please
And we'll
do.
never know.
Please
We'll never
do.
know if that's what happens, right?
I
There is
appreciate you. Yes, I sometimes criticize you for making mistakes,
Yep.
but I also appreciate just how insanely talented and awesome you are at this
I
game,
think-
man.
I think
Please
we
come
live
back.
we live in a society where people need to be allowed to try things and make more mistakes.
Yeah.
Because that's how you bring people up in the world. So even if it takes you 9 years to keep making mistakes and figure it out.
I don't care if you take 18 years, do it. And like I believe in that group, in that core group of this team, and it would be really
God bless
disappointing
you.
for me to just
Oof.
like not be able to see it out because I really believe in them. I just think they need a playstyle tweak, and I will say it till the end of time.
God bless you, man. You're right
But
there.
listen, but Will, you agree with me to an extent on this. I'm sure of it. That the
To an extent,
playstyle
yes.
needs to change. I think you're a little more skeptical about if they can mentally deal with it, but I give them honestly, I will give them the benefit of the doubt until that system is tried and failed.
It was just
I get it.
so
I get
bad.
it. I
It
get
was
it.
so bad.
I get it. I get it. But like you have to believe in them at this point. Like, for my own
Well,
sanity,
I mean,
I
on
have
paper,
to,
yes. Like
I
on
have
paper,
to
the answer to
believe
that
in
is yeah, of
this
course you
to an
do.
extent.
On paper, they're if they're wearing the jersey, they're wearing the jersey. You know,
Like,
but
they're just so good, man. And it's just really disappointing that they can't put it together, because I really think there is a recipe and a formula to do it. It just requires upping the pace. So with that, it's
yeah,
time to get
we'll
into some
switch over.
questions, because it's gonna
Yep.
be more Leafs. It's not like I haven't. It's gonna be more
Yep.
Leafs for most of the time. Sorry,
Yep.
people who like prospects. This is just what
There's
happened.
probably gonna be some of that.
There will be, but
Yeah.
like the Leafs
Yeah.
just take over, unfortunately.
Here's a very interesting thing about the series. Marner was the only Leaf to have a primary point on all of the Maple Leafs game-winning goals scored. Well, that's cool.
Yeah, because he's actually good.
Until they have to win.
But they had to
He's-
win Game 6. Let's like, it's when
Right.
it's when they can win and close out the series. Like, that's where it becomes a problem.
Unfortunately, you got to win at home.
You do.
Unfortunately, and their record at home in the playoffs is abysmal.
They won the first two at home, but like
Oof.
they couldn't win the last two at home.
Yeah, it is. Yikes. AJ's part of the problem. The noise is getting to the players.
I'm not part of the problem at all.
No, AJ doesn't have social media. Like I don't know what you want more from him, right? Like this is audio only.
This is my platform.
Yeah.
And
you're not that bad.
No,
some of the things
I'm
Leaf fans
very
post and
positive
talk about
this team.
and Leafs media people, it's like asinine what people are doing. It's like, okay, like let's calm down a little here.
Like, I respect the hell out of Kyle Bukauskas, but when Jimmy Neutron decided to say that they need more character guys, I lost my mind. I'm like, you're on something, man.
Speaking of Jimmy Neutron, I got a little something going on up here. But anyway, we'll move forward. Do we all remember who coined the core four as the core four? I don't remember
Probably
who did that.
Media.
Was it? I don't know.
It would have. I have no idea, but it was probably some beat writer.
Steve Simmons.
Yeah, that's probably who it was.
Yeah, I think Mitch Marner should leave and join the Red Wings. Well, that would be insane.
How about no?
What number would he wear as a Red Wing?
He wouldn't wear a number there because he's not going to. He's not going to that franchise.
He's gonna pick. Well, I mean, I imagine 90. It would be 93 because that's the number he's always worn. It's just Toronto he can't. So
that's not
I don't
true.
know, but
oh wait, yeah,
yeah, Doug Gilmour.
Right.
He can't wear 93.
Right.
I think in Toronto.
Do you think?
I don't know.
Do you think he wouldn't just stick with 16 at this point?
I don't know. I mean, maybe he picked something random.
Give him 93 for a season. See if it changes his mentality.
Yeah, Doug Gilmour gives him 93 and they win the cup. Maybe that's all they needed.
That's
just a different jersey number. It worked for Nylander. He put on 88 and everyone started to like him. So who knows?
Marner, like, let's wait until Elliot Friedman says that Marner's leaving before we say it's 100%.
Yeah.
Because I don't care what any other insider says if it's not Kevin Weeks or Elliot Friedman. Everybody else is a chump compared to them, like in terms of what they say. Seriously.
But Mitch Marner himself certainly didn't sound like a guy who was sure he was going to be back last night.
Well,
he was.
We'll see.
He was using the past tense quite a bit.
Well,
so we'll see.
We'll see.
Yep, we'll find out soon enough. Well, maybe not soon enough. It'll be a month and a half.
I appreciate you bringing it down 1%. Appreciate it.
Right. With the Memorial Cup, not all Leafs, but the Memorial Cup set, which player are you interested in that could make a huge impact for their team? I mean, God, it's going to be so fun. The Memorial Cup this year, everyone, if you're not going to watch it, you probably should, because the Medicine Hat Tigers are a wagon of fun. Like, you want to see a team built with skill and fun that is good. Go watch the Medicine Hat Tigers, because they have shown that it is more than capable, because they were a team that literally nobody wanted to go to for years. So they just drafted high upside guys. They were just like, you know what? Who knows? Nobody wants to come here anyway. So let's just take all the best players we can find and whatever, if they're small, whatever, but that's what we want. And then they got Gavin McKenna. And that's a good reason for people to show up and play in Medicine Hat. So they're a fun team. And they've got some really good players up and down their lineup. Like Bryce Pickford on defense has been outrageously good at scoring goals. Like he's just clapping bombs all day. Like the London Knights, I've tracked a few games in the last week where the London Knights have been an opponent. They are overwhelming. Like they are a team that just rips you apart. They're kind of like Florida. Like they are a team that, you know, up and down the lineup, there are some guys that can score. You know, they got Barkey, they got Cowan, they got Haltonen, who's clearly scoring a ton. Sam O'Reilly's been good in the playoff run. You know, Landon Sim has been a useful player for them. But they also just have guys who go out and will run you over if you have the puck, and there's lots of that. So, I mean, I'm excited to see Denver Barkey for the London Knights this year do his thing. Obviously, everybody's going to be watching Caleb Desnoyers. He plays for Moncton, and I mean, I think Moncton is going to be a good team as well. Like, I don't think you can sort of look at the Moncton Wildcats of this season and go, Quebec isn't good anymore. Like Tony Ferrari's on the show and being like, Quebec sucks. I don't think you can do that with the Moncton Wildcats of this season. And their coach, Gardner McDougall, has done a really good job getting that team to play.
Name.
It is a great name. He's done a good job getting that team to get going. And I think a lot of people will probably be paying a lot of attention to Caleb Desnoyers. You got who else is in the I mean, Rimouski. I gotta admit, I don't know much about the Rimouski Oceanique or who is on that roster, so we'll skip them. Yeah, they are the host team. It is in Rimouski this year. But yeah, I mean, for Medicine Hat, I mean, obviously people are going to pay attention to McKenna. I'll be very curious to watch Caden Lindstrom and Andrew Basha, who have been injured for a while, and they're sort of getting their feet moving. They've been huge ads for that team. You want to talk Florida Panthers? Hunter St. Martin has been good for them as well in the playoffs that I've seen, and he's been a fun player to watch. So, yeah, they're a team that up and down their lineup, like, yeah, I mean, they're just so stacked. The Ruck brothers, McKenna, Lindstrom, Basha, Schaefer Gordon Carroll is an 08 for 2 years from now, I think, who I've really liked. Every time I've seen Medicine Hat this year, he's been a guy that sticks out. Yeah, he's a 2027 from Salt Lake City, of all places. And he's been quite a player for them as well. So it's going to be fun. These teams are good. They are really loaded. If I had to pick one, I might give it to... Like, the thing about the Medicine Hat Tigers, if you're unaware, they also have a good story behind them, because Harrison Menigan, their goaltender, who was spectacular in almost every game in the playoffs in the WHL finals, he lost his dad really, really suddenly pretty recently. And so he's been sort of, and I think he was the MVP of the WHL finals, which rightfully so. I think he had like he faced like 35 shots every game and had one game where he allowed more than like 4 goals. It was crazy. And the rest were like shutouts or 1 goal or something like that. Let me look. I don't want to make a total fool of myself. So let's see here. He turned away 34 of 36 to win it, 28 of 30 the game before, the shutout on 28 shots the game before, 36 of 37 in game 1, and just 19 on 25 in one of the games, and they lost 6-2. But the rest of it, he was unbelievable. And so that, if he can keep that going, that's going to be tough to get through if you're London, even though they have some good offensive weapons. Moncton, they've got a good team. They'll have some offensive weapons as well, but I don't think they stack up quite as well as London. I don't know. I mean, you never know. The Quebec teams might just have a little more juice left in the tank and whatever, but the London Knights also haven't had to play a ton of games to get here. So at the end of the day, I think I'd put my money on Medicine Hat because I want to see it happen. And they've got some pretty cool jerseys, but I would not be surprised to see London just be better. You know what I mean? Like, Medicine Hat will be fun and skilled and have a lot of firepower, but the London Knights will just come at them, and it will be pretty wild. And so will Moncton, to be honest. Like, Moncton will do the same thing. That's kind of how they do it. So it's going to be great. Highly worth the watch. If you aren't planning on it, you probably should, because it will be fun. Florida seemed to be playing with the mindset that it was worth pushing the offense, hoping to score first, because even if they didn't, they're more comfortable playing from behind than the Leafs are. But that's because that's how they play. And they even mentioned it on the broadcast, like the difference in strategy from how Florida was deploying their defensemen, even when the game was 5-1. versus Toronto was very telling, where everybody was allowed to activate from the blue line and forwards were always supporting them. And it
The
as long
way
as it helped,
should
as long
be.
as long as it helped them carry the momentum of the game, right? If there wasn't quite the same amount of speed from a forward checker at a forward position, or the puck was below the goal line and a defenseman had a good head of steam, they would allow that defenseman to come up the half wall, challenge that play really quickly, and the forward would come back and sort of help them out and support them, right? Um, and Toronto just does not do that. They
No
just don't.
flexibility.
They just
in the
don't. They
league
just didn't.
system.
So that makes a lot of sense to me. I agree, Jordan. I agree with what you're saying. Every puck that went out into no man's land, a Panther was there first every time. Yeah,
Yeah.
the Leafs were a step behind, and even when they did touch the puck, the Florida Panthers just went, "Excuse me, I'm going to grab you by your collar and just pull you, and I'm going to just take it from you." And Toronto went, "Okay." Like that's kind of how the whole night went.
Yes, Genghis.
Yes, okay, yes, yeah, Genghis Khan, please just take
Yes,
all, like you said
Genghis.
earlier, just take all the women and children from our city and do, whatever. Okay,
Okay, but the administrators and teachers were spared. Okay.
yeah, exactly. At 5-on-5, Toronto ranked second and fourth in the playoffs for dump-ins and recovered dumps.
Yeah, because they're
16th in
lame.
But there's a second part. 16th in scoring chances off of those dump-ins and 16th in controlled exits and shot creation off of exits.
Because they're lame.
Because they're not that actually good. Like they are a semblance of what makes a good team.
They have
But
a
Florida
nucleus
is what a
that's
good team
great
is like.
and and a play style. It's like it's like the Simpsons power plant, like the nuclear plant run by Mr. Burns, cutting corners with all this BS. Okay, I don't know. I'm just done with analogies. The Mongolian one was pretty good, but
that was a good one. Yeah, the Florida Panthers are a great analog for the ancient Mongolian armies of Genghis Khan and his family. I think that's a good
but only
way
there's
of
no
outlining it.
infighting.
Well, there wasn't actually. I believe Genghis Khan wasn't the one whose children were involved in the infighting. I believe it was his grandchildren who were involved in the infighting.
His children split the empire 4 ways.
Yes, they did, and it functioned sort of, but
It did.
Eventually, it was more about the grandchildren's generation that ripped it apart. I think. I mean, I will admit it's been a while since I listened to the 6.5-hour Fall of Civilizations podcast about the Mongolians, but if you haven't listened to that, you should, because it was pretty cool. And there's a lot that I learned about the Mongolians, to say the least. For example, Genghis Khan, for the time and the society he lived in, a feminist. He banned the practice of kidnapping wives, even if they were married. If you kidnapped a woman from a married man, you could make her your wife. And his mother, that happened to his mother, and he resented that for his whole life. And when he became supreme ruler, supreme Khan of all the Mongol tribes, he went, "Nah, that's not happening anymore. And if you do it, I'm gonna kill you," which is awesome. So for 1212 or whatever it was, Mongolian,
like the 13th century.
Mongolian feminism. Yeah, Mongolian feminism was alive and well, right? So we got that going.
Siegecraft was insane, by the way. Like,
what do you mean?
Oh, just like
siege, yes. Because they took all their ideas from there was a civilization they conquered, and they took all their siege weaponry.
Well, like that's why they spared teachers and administrators. They spared all the smart people.
They respected educated people, unlike maybe some sects of society these days, 800 years later. Yeah, there are
Romans
31
were better. Let's go. My own pride.
Oh boy, all right.
No.
All right, let's not get into that.
It lasted longer, that's for sure.
Yeah. There are 31 general managers in the league praying for Marner to be done with the Leafs. You're probably not wrong.
I don't know about that. I'm sure there are some
at least 20 going, interesting. I don't know, maybe. Yes, I agree. Seth Jones does fit their system. That's true. He fits Florida's system.
Yeah, he's super athletic, and they were just
athletic and rangy.
Teams would just use him in a way where he was this guy. Beforehand, like Columbus, he was their number 1 defenseman, but he was a guy as their number 1 defenseman. And with Florida, with the speed and pace they play at, it really unlocks his tools to actually go and do stuff. And
Yeah.
he's a great player when he's put in the right system.
Do you think Malcolm Spence could be a good guy to pair with Demidov down the line? What about Carbonneau? I mean, Malcolm Spence, I just recorded my report on him the other day, so I just had a fresh look at everything I've seen of him over the year. I don't think I would expect him to be that high up the lineup. Like, Demidov's going to be in your top 6 indefinitely. I don't think I see that kind of upside for Spence. Like, I think Spence is going to be more of like, if you're a Habs person, which I'm assuming you are, it's more like he strikes me more as like not a Michael Pezzetta. He's better than that, but like he's not like the tough fighting guy that Pezzetta kind of is. Like,
Armia?
yeah, like there might be a bit of a less skilled Joel Armia there, kind of just like a hardworking guy with some size and some offense and some defense and just a bit of everything and competitive and all that stuff. And
Yeah.
I don't know if you would play a Joel Armia with Ivan Demidov long term, but you want an Armia in your lineup. Like, I've always liked watching Armia over the years. You know, he's a solid guy.
And Malcolm's a great kid, by the way. Like,
yes,
that dude was talking about in our interview, we could catch up and get coffee in 20 years down the line. Like, nobody's ever said that to me in these interviews. That's cool.
Yep.
Like, he's just a very personable guy who likes picking up conversation with anybody. Really, really interesting dude.
And you said, as long as you pick up the tab with your $8 million a year NHL contract, you can take me out for
I should have
coffee
said that,
anytime you want.
actually. I should have said
As
that.
long as you pick up the tab, man. Which would definitely go over well. People love when you do that.
A good guy. Great guy.
And then to answer the second part of your question, Carbonneau with Demidov, I feel like their issues will compound each other. Carbonneau is a very puck possession heavy guy. He wants to have the puck. Demidov does too. I don't think I'd put and he's a lot better. I don't think I'd put those two guys together really, and I feel like you would be compounding both of their issues. I think if between those two, if I had to pick one, I'd probably put Spence with Demidov, because at least, you know, Spence could go to the net and Demidov could throw pucks in front and maybe there's some deflections there. But Carbonneau is more of just like a pure offensive zone finisher type, which maybe would work with Demidov, but I feel like the issues would stick out a little more if you had both of those guys playing together. Would Logan Hensler be the type of partner that could work with Lane Hutson? How does he compare with Reinbacher? I mean, he's definitely not Reinbacher. He is I would say, more like rangy guy. Like, Reinbacher is a physical, smart, sort of pretty punishing defenseman who's a pretty good skater, but Hensler, I think, leads with more finesse in his game. Like, I think if I were coaching him, I'd probably put him in a bit more of an offensively favorable situation. And I think if I'm the Habs, I could very easily see a guy like Reinbacher being a very good partner for a guy like Hutson. I don't know it for sure. I don't think anybody can know that for sure, but I think it passes the smell test for me more than Hensler. But Hensler is more of one of those players where it's like, you could put him with a more defensive leaning guy and I think he'd be okay. You could put him with a more offensive leaning guy and I think he'd be okay. But I don't think he'd be a very good partner for a player who's like Hutson, where it's like you are putting him on the ice to take chances and take risks and play offensively. And you need a guy to support that, because I think Hensler at his best moments when I've seen him is when he's kind of doing not Hutson level stuff, but pushing things offensively himself and like kind of being a little more confident and challenging things a little bit better. And he passes the puck pretty well. And, you know, but in the defensive zone, I think that's where things are kind of sketchy with him, but not in such a bad way where I'm going, oh my God, this is a nightmare. But anyway, yeah, I could see him being in Montreal, but I feel like Reinbacher makes more sense to try out with Hutson. And yes, I agree. The Florida third line, Lusterine and Lindell Marchand, very scary. The Leafs look like a highly effective group of skilled individuals instead of a team. Yeah, I very much agree. When they fall apart, I think that's what happens. Oh boy, I heard Lyndon Lakovich is lazy like Anthony Mantha. To me, he looks like he needs to get stronger. Then he's going to dominate. What would you say? I certainly wouldn't call him lazy, and I don't think you can really get away with calling any player that has played in the NHL as like lazy, because I don't think you can really do that. I will say though,
Phil Kessel. No, I'm kidding.
Well, I mean, I don't think he was lazy. He just kind of didn't
He looked it.
need. He felt like he didn't need to do the things that other people did, and he still went out and scored 70
He
points.
did. He did. You know what?
Uh,
I'm just
lazy guys don't score 40 goals.
come on. Ovi scores 40 goals all the time, and he's lazy.
Boy! All right,
He's
all right,
lazy.
all right.
Don't.
But anyway,
That's actually why I hate Alex Ovechkin, because modern day Alex Ovechkin is the laziest player. He does nothing but park his fat ass in front of the net. Or not even in front of the net, but at the circle and just rip. But he wasn't lazy at one point. He earned his ability to be lazy.
he was lazy in a good way. No, but to answer the question, I mean, Lakovic, I think a big reason why people put him where he gets put in like the later parts of the first round is because he is a big finesse winger. Like he does have a physical bit of a game to him, but I wouldn't consider it like a leading part of his game. But again, like I don't think any coach worth their weight would make a lazy player team captain at 17 years old. Like I just don't. I don't think any coach would do that, especially in hockey. Um, I mean, Lakovic is the best player on the Moose Jaw Warriors. Like in terms of just he's involved in almost half of their offense this year. They were not great, but he drove a lot of their offense. He is a fantastic mid-range shooter. I mean, I would say that there might be some parallels to a guy like Mantha, but not because of their mutual laziness, but rather their like bigger size focus on finesse and everything. I remember Mantha as being much more of a finisher, though. Like other guys would do all the work and then he'd score 50 goals, right? That was kind of how he was in junior. I would not categorize Lakovic as that way at all. I think he is a very, I mean, we met him, we interviewed him, and he came off as a very sort of, he's like a nerd. Like he wants to understand the game and he studies it, and he knows things about opposing team goaltenders, and he tries to, I think, go out of his way to put himself in a position to have advantages.
Really smart
And
dude. Really
and
smart
and
dude.
and he has a really good personality. Like he's just a fun guy to be around.
My
and
bromance, as I've said billions of times at this
yes,
point.
you've said it billions of times. But yes, he is a guy who I think I wouldn't compare him directly to Mantha in the way that you are, but in terms of potential NHL value, where you're getting a pretty productive player who's got some size and some malleability with how he plays the game, I think you might have something there. And I mean, I have Lakovic really high. I think that he's worth betting on long term, and I agree. Like develop a little more physically, and I think he could become quite a useful lineup guy and somewhere in your lineup. I'm not exactly sure where, but he'll be useful. So yeah, I could see
More likely
that.
than not, the middle of the lineup.
Yeah, I would say the middle of your lineup and the winger, position, and maybe a bit more of a physical guy, but I'd lean definitely more into the offense and the finesse and the skill. Carolina are 100% favorites for Mitch Marner. I think you're just saying that, mister, because you are a Canes fan. They won't offer him the most money, then he's not coming to Carolina, man. Look, he signed in Toronto for $10.9367225 million. And that was a lot of money because he could take a lot of money from them, or at least he tried and it worked. I think that if Mitch Marner is going to go from Toronto, and this is his one real chance to sign a long-term deal somewhere and make bank, bank, I don't think it will be with a team that just because they have a better cap structure, he's going to go there. I think he's going to go to the, if the Utah Mammoth call him up and go, we'll give you $14.5 million to play for Utah, I think he's signing that contract immediately. I don't think he's going to Utah, but I get that feeling that, I don't know, maybe I'm reading into his body.
Come back, please.
I don't see any reason for JT to stay unless he really, really wants to stay. I think Tavares will probably stick around. I mean, he's a Toronto guy. I think he is a good person to have around, but for the right price. Like, I wouldn't keep him at the same number he's making, but he's still a pretty useful player.
The thing is, he's projected to get like $8 million, and that's crazy to me. Like,
that would be crazy.
You let him go at that cap hit, and you're like, look, Mitch, stay. Matthew Nyes and Mitch Marner, stay, please. And then trade for
Fraser-
Marco Rossi, please.
Or Fraser Minton can replace him.
Oh wait.
Wink. Wink. No, they got Scott Lawton. It'll be fine.
Oh, it won't be. He's ass.
All right. Go Oilers. Yeah, I mean, I'm wearing an Oilers jersey, so yeah.
No, Canada drought has to continue until the Leafs
it must.
can win.
It must continue.
I will never cheer for another Canadian team to win the cup.
Yep. One underappreciated aspect of the Leafs mismanagement is that the core force cap hit percentage was the lowest it ever has been this year, and the team was probably the worst it has been in that time. I mean, in terms of like possession results and such, yeah. I mean, they got outshot.
Stupid. I'm sorry.
They got outshot a lot, and they won while being outshot a lot, and that is not a successful. That is not a successful program.
I know I'm not getting an NHL job in my life, so I don't care. Brad Treliving is a fucking moron. All right.
Dude.
This guy is trained by Brian Burke, a bigger moron. All right. They fumbled Sam Bennett. Like, and this guy, whole reasoning for bringing Ryan Reeves when asked, why'd you bring him in? Keeps the flies off the honey. What the fuck does that mean? It's so stupid.
It's
and I'll chill.
The flies, the hockey cliches. I feel like the more hockey cliches a person uses per 60 minutes, the more they miss the point.
Yeah, exactly.
The more they miss the point. If I was running how is it a Florida team is in the Eastern Conference Finals for the 5th straight year? Because they don't pay taxes. That's why. It's directly because they don't pay taxes. It's not because they're good. It's because they don't pay taxes. That's why.
Hey, super chat. You didn't know what he meant, Will.
What do you mean?
Xenome Project. He thinks Carolina will offer 13.5.
Okay.
But we appreciate the donation.
We do. Why is my chat not refreshing?
It says you don't know what I meant. Canes offer 13.5 mil, while Chicago or Utah can offer 14.5. But like,
well, if that's the case, then sure, right? Sorry, I lost my dashboard. My YouTube dashboard crashed. And
yeah, Will was secretly messaging me to watch my language.
There it is.
That's why he lost his dashboard. I'm sorry, guys. It's just I've lost my mind a little bit.
Yeah. Where were we here? Okay, so I lost a bit of the chat. So the last thing I see is Montreal and Toronto fans are craziest. I would agree. All of the top 4 teams outside of Edmonton have stellar management. I mean, yes, that I would agree with as well. I mean, Dallas and pretty wild.
Absolutely.
I wish the Leafs would focus on being more fun. Yes, you and me both.
Yes.
There's a reason why. Great. Oh, so the comment that followed up was actually that they don't pay taxes. I was joking, but sure. If you think that, look, I have so little sympathy for millionaires and their accountants and their lawyers going, man, we could save an extra 4% by, we could save an extra 4% of my $8 million a year if we just moved to Florida and lived in a swamp. Maybe that will,
you just hate Florida. That's also your bias.
Yes, I do. It is objectively a bad place. People should not live there. It's just a bad place. And maybe in 100 years, there won't be people there because, I don't know. But look, if you want to pay $2 quadrillion for home insurance because the government doesn't tell you when a hurricane is coming anymore, by all means, feel free. But yeah, Florida can.
That's why the taxes are lower.
Exactly. If you want to save some money and buy your own hurricane service and buy a private plane that tells you when storms are coming, and you can have a dome over your house that protects you from anything and everything, then by all means,
dome, but for hurricanes.
if that's what you want, then by all means go to Florida, right? But no, I mean, look, no, I'm also just not a fan of Florida at all. I'm more of a desert person myself.
Florida's cool. I don't know what you're talking about.
It is not. It just isn't. It's just wrong.
It's just wrong. Okay.
It's just wrong. It's just objectively wrong. What do you think about the argument? Oh, we did kind of go over this with the
Yeah,
Leafs and their skill level.
Yeah, yeah.
How do you think Florida is able to take these cast-off defensemen and turn them into championship
Play
caliber players?
style,
Well,
play style, play
but
style.
I've got an answer for this. I have an answer for this because I watch a lot of hockey. And I've spoken to people in the NHL about this, and at the Columbus Analytics Conference, they actually went into detail about this quite a bit. Analytics people in the sport, and when they make their best decisions, when everybody comes together and makes the right call, whenever it happens, the GM, the analytics staff, the coaching staff, whatever, they go, they all identify a problem accurately. Number one, they identify a problem that they have. Number two, they use the resources that they have to concretely identify options to solve that problem. And three, they do what is necessary to make that happen, right? Florida has not been shy to make trades. They have not been shy to take a flyer on a guy. And I think that it is, you can't do it with public data, right? You just can't do it because it doesn't exist. But it is possible to look at a player in the NHL, even if they have 10 points in a season, and you can look at them and go, sure, 8 minutes a night, they're going to get 10 points and they're not going to be the most impactful player there or whatever. But if we take that player and put them in our lineup on the third line with, I don't know, with Anton Lundell, if we take Eetu Luostarinen from Carolina, stick him on the third line, and Paul Maurice lights a fire under his butt, and we have evidence to show that this is a really good forechecking guy who can apply pressure quickly. He skates and he's got all these traits about him that fit what we're trying to do. That's how you do it. Like I am firmly of the belief that you don't always have to go after the guy, like the coaches, the managers, the players who are all the top reputation guys in the sport. I think that's when you make mistakes, is when you think, well, this person achieved X in this situation, therefore it will happen in this situation for
Those
us.
are the guys that are the most overvalued players generally.
Exactly. If you don't have a plan, if you don't know what you're getting, and I think Bill Zito and the data science staff there have done a really good job of incorporating everything together and going, we have a problem. Here are the options we may be able to fix it with. Or if a guy's on waivers, they could go like Forsling. They might go, we have evidence that he's a pretty good skater and has some skill, and like he plays at a high pace of play, and maybe we could turn him into something here, right? Let's see what happens. Let's give him a go. We have evidence that he does these things that we look for. That's how you do it, right? And that's why, to me, like when I'm thinking about my work, I'm always thinking about it from the perspective of how I would build a team. Because how I would build a team is how I would be able to go out and look at a player and go, I can use this. I can use this. Someone might look at me, make a trade, and they go, what in the hell are you doing? But if I know that I'm going to take this player, put them in a situation where I have evidence that they should be able to do a good job, take Brad Lambert, take him out of Liga and put him in the WHL, and on the first line with some guys who can score, he will do a bunch of good things for you. That's obviously an extreme example and an easy one, but in the NHL, like that's the approach that I would have, is like, let's find a guy who can do a thing for us that we have evidence he can do and see if it works. And you don't have to often spend a lot of money to try that, right? Like look at who's on the team for the Panthers that's down the lineup, or who's playing defense for them that isn't Seth Jones or Aaron Ekblad. It's just they found guys, they rebooted Oliver Ekman-Larsson, right? Like they brought him in and dirt cheap, and now he's a multimillionaire, But just because he won a cup with Florida and then he went to Toronto, he doesn't mean he brings the same value, unless they had an idea of like if they're looking at him going, he won a Stanley Cup and he's a defenseman, we need a defenseman and he won a Stanley Cup, he's going to be good for us, let's bring him in.
Who
Here's
would you
$10
rather
million.
have? They have the exact same contract. Sean Walker or Oliver Ekman-Larsson?
Sean Walker.
It's not
every
close.
day.
It's not close.
Yeah. Every day of the week, Sean Walker. But them's the breaks. Imagine Bill Zonin on the Carolina Hurricanes. Oh, I have. Trust me.
It could happen.
It could very easily happen. I could say that. I'll say that. Yeah, the Panthers being potentially in the Stanley Cup Final 3 years in a row is crazy. Loving the channel. Quick thought on Cole Reshny. Yeah, Cam. Sorry it took so long to get here.
Yeah.
I like Reshny. I like Reshny. I really do. I've said this a few times. Like in terms of players that I respect the most, not that I disrespect a lot of players that I watch, but the ones that I watch and I go, I love this guy, and I feel like I would really love to coach this kid, and I think he could be a excellent junior player for Victoria, something they've desperately needed for years. I think that's Cole Reshny. Like he plays a style of play where he's competitive, he's hardworking, he's fearless, grinds the puck to the net, everything like that. All that stuff is there. He's got skill, but in the NHL, like his lack of size has to be made up for in other areas. And I'm not sure that the skating ability, the pace of his game, how quickly he makes decisions, his off puck running, his off puck separation ability, like I don't think it quite projects super well. But he is at the tail end of my first round because I do feel like it'll take very little time in the draft for him to become one of the more interesting swings to take, like in terms of like he plays quote unquote the right way in what I view the right way to be, especially for a smaller player. So even if he is a long shot and he might be a second round pick or even a third, that's when I might go, yeah, if he's the second or third guy I'm drafting, I'm thrilled. Like that's where I'm going. Yeah, that would be sweet. But I do think there's enough doubts about him being an NHL player that might limit him from being a top 15 guy, maybe top 20, which kind of might be where in isolated pockets, I feel like he shows that capability, but I'm not sure he's quite there. I don't know why the fans keep underrating the Oilers because they're a roller coaster. The future Canes third line might be Artemonov, Kotkaniemi, Zonin. I mean, maybe. Zonon, sorry. I must also admit, I am a fool, for I have listened to games on mute for too long, and I realized that Bill
Not a fool
Zonon
for
is a Quebecois name, but I figured his name is Bill from Montreal, and I don't listen to games with commentary on, especially in dirty French.
that.
I don't listen to no French hockey calls. Et le but, like, come on. Advantage numérique. Come on, it's a power play. Like that's ridiculous.
That could get
Have you
clipped out of context, but I think that's what makes it
I ain't
all the
scared.
funnier.
Look, I took French literature all the way through high school. I know a little bit of French. I'm taking the PP out of them, I respect the French. Montreal is one of my favorite places in the world. Driving through Quebec, honestly, if you've never done it, driving from out of Montreal north towards the border with New Brunswick, beautiful. Unbelievable drive. Highly worth it. Really cool area of the country if you're ever in Canada. Have you checked out Andor? I have not. I loved season 1. Me watching television at this time of the year is very difficult because I am doing a lot of last minute prep. I'm tracking games, I'm doing video work, and I need to take breaks for some of the time. And so,
Yeah. Will's a hard
so I
working dude.
haven't really had time to watch much of Andor. There are TV shows that when they are new and come out, I do set time aside and watch those, and they are similar to Andor, but I haven't gotten to it yet. But I will. I do want to watch it.
The only
I've heard
thing
it's
Will
great.
sets time aside for at this point is Survivor.
Yes, I will watch Survivor. Now that I finished the story mode of Expedition 33, at least so far, I got to the end of Act 3. I can sort of take less time grinding through that because, holy crap, what a cultural revolution that's been in my world. But yeah, Andor's on the list, maybe for the off season if I have time between now and then. Usually around mid-June is when I start getting really tired of doing this and just give up and call it a day. So maybe sometime around then I'll watch it.
Yep.
All right, what are we doing here? Will knows which team is Canada's team. Maybe. Comps:
Toronto.
Schaefer, Heiskanen, Mertka, Pareko, Lakovic, Connor. I don't know about that.
No.
To me, Schaefer is more of like a Dougie Hamilton. Like that's the vibe I kind of get from him a little bit. Mertka,
Douglas, my boy. I love Douglas.
Mertka, I don't know. Merka's a pretty blank slate. Maybe
he moves well though, and Pareko.
he moves okay. Yeah, he moves okay
But
for a big boy.
You know what Pareko does not do?
Skate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I can't get behind that.
I don't know about that one. I'm not sure exactly who Mertka reminds me of. Maybe a Josh Manson type guy, something like that. I don't know.
I think you said that with Jackson Smith, right?
Jackson Smith, but I also tracked a game of Jackson Smith today, and he was god awful, and I just sort of went, I don't know. Let's move on to the next one. Yeah, but and Lakovic being Kyle Connor, I don't think I'd say that either.
Well off because he's not
I
nearly as fast.
No, he's more of
And he's way bigger. Yes, am I wrong?
Isn't Connor like 6'2"? Is he? I don't know. But anyway, it doesn't matter. I don't know.
Connor plays small.
These guys
matter.
these guys a little further down the draft board are really hard to find comps for because they're not there yet. Like I don't really
Their
know.
comps are probably
I know what they
more
do.
like middle six NHLers or
Right. Like
bottom
and
pair or like middle pair NHLers that we don't really.
If I said so, you'd be like, well, that's boring.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. Sorry, I'm also stalling for time while I pull up a list of NHLers who are 6'4" and above. And forwards, I should say. But yeah, I mean, Schaefer, though, for sure, I can see a guy like Dougie Hamilton there. Oops, that's defenseman. All forwards, where are you? Yeah, like, is he Tage Thompson? No. Every big player, every big winger is Tage Thompson. I mean, maybe
Lyndon Lakovic.
Yeah.
I know what he is.
He's Lyndon Lakovic. I don't know. Like he's a really smart offensive guy, but like a Van Riemsdyk comes to mind, like big, pretty diverse goal scorer. But Van Riemsdyk goes to the net a lot more than Lakovic does. But maybe it's not Lakovic can learn how to do that more. Yeah, like I don't know.
Just gave up. Just like you will on this class in mid-June.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yes, I do. And I go full Joker often. We live in a society it's often what comes out for me. Imagine putting together 4 skilled players and giving them dog poo to play with, then shifting the blame to them.
Yes.
That's kind of what might be happening a little bit here. If AJ was running the Leafs, they'd have 2 cups by now. Just 2? That's it. I was thinking more like
where's this
8.
comment? I need to frame this.
Yeah, it's from our friend. It's from our friend over in Finland who's up way past his bedtime.
Oh, then he's full of duty.
He's dragging you through the dog poo yourself. He's given the 4 skilled players you as dog poo to play with. All right, what do we got here? Marner can afford therapy. Yeah, true. Why are the London Knights always good? Like, what the hell? I mean, London,
money,
number
right?
one.
Like they just have a good program that gets money.
Yeah, they have a bunch of resources. And I think people would be surprised at how many CHL teams like aren't entirely focused on like player development. And London definitely is. London also like, again, they have an identity. They know even their small guys, like they're not a team that just gets big players. They are a team that even their small guys, they need you to be competitive. Like they are like Florida, where it's like, if you can push play and push the opponent around and drive play offensively, you can play on our team. And I think a lot of the guys on that team do that. Their big guys can move. Jacob Julien, Bryce Montgomery. There's a whole bunch of them.
And you know who won on London? Mitch Marner.
Mitch Marner, yep. He was a London Knight. But like,
it's not that he can't win. It's just much harder to win in the NHL when you don't have the supporting cast to do it. He also played on a line with Matt Dukachuk and Christian Dvorak, but Christian Dvorak, passenger.
Well, yeah.
He is, though.
But yeah, but like watching the London Knights over the years, it's more, to me, it's like they are just so capable of playing an NHL style of play where, they might not be the most skilled team around. They might not be the fastest team around, but they are a heavy pressure team. They compete. They play for each other. They play as a team. They also have some guys at the top of the lineup who are brilliant junior players, like Easton Cowan. Watching him play, his NHL upside, we'll see. But at the junior level, man, that guy can rip you apart. He will no matter what you do, he will rip you apart. Denver Barkey can embarrass you. They have lots of guys who can make it fun, but their depth also finds ways to push play in the right direction and pressure you and make you make mistakes. Um, I mean, I am surprised at just how good they are this year, but also like, Casper Halton and clapping bombs all year also helps. Can't okay, so Marner wouldn't be able to wear 93 because of Alex DeBrincat. Okay. Can't wear 16 because of Konstantinov, and can't wear 6 either. Maybe he just wears 39 upside
Or
down
maybe he
backwards.
just doesn't go there because not to be disrespectful, but who wants to play in Detroit?
Oh boy. Well, I'm gonna move right past that one.
But hey, your
From
other team's really good. I like your other team a lot.
the Lions?
No. He's
The
a
Tigers?
No, he's Salty Wings and Avs fan.
Oh. No, that was someone else commenting.
Oh,
that.
was it? Oh,
Yeah.
well,
So you've
then I'm
offended multiple
sorry.
people now.
Well, then I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Well, look,
Bear-
my team's been getting dunked on all night. I think I get a pass to dunk on some other people. Okay, I love you all for coming here, even if you hate me. Just hate me very vocally, so I get money from it, please.
Bear got good news on his injury. He's already skating. Who do you think will draft him? That's a good question. I don't know. I honestly have no idea. I do think he should. I mean, he should go in the lottery, like top 16.
But will he?
I mean, a team like New York could make sense for him. Pittsburgh, I could see. Maybe Anaheim, but more likely like in that New York, Columbus, Vancouver range. Vancouver could make a lot of sense. They have some good options.
Columbus, I
But
could see.
yeah, Columbus, it'll really depend on who goes where. Like Montreal, I feel like Montreal would take a good look at him. Any of those teams, like at the top end of the lottery, if he's still there, I would not be surprised. There's no way Marner hates the Leafs so much that he takes a $12 million pay cut by not signing for 8 years. I mean, that's probably true. Like maybe they get something. I don't know. Whatever. I don't want to talk or think about Mitch Marner anymore. I'm tired. If you were in
here, please just stay. That's all.
Yeah, he's in his Range Rover. He's listening to every word we're saying, but I want to move on. If you were in Star Wars, oh God, would you be a Jedi or a Sith? Well, maybe I would be a Jith and just be both. No. I mean, I feel like I don't have the emotional capacity to be a member of the Sith Order. So, also I played. Well, yeah, AJ definitely does. But I played a lot of Star Wars Galaxies when I was growing up, when I was coming up in the hood, and
you in the hood, okay.
Yeah, me playing Star Wars Galaxies on my Sony laptop.
What hood was it with your dad in finance, Will?
Excuse me. Hey, excuse me. Number 1, don't sass my dad. Number 2,
I'm not sassing your dad. I'm sassing you.
I grew up in Roncesvalles in Toronto when it was run by the mob. So it was all Polish and Ukrainian immigrants and the mob. And then the hipsters took it over, and now it's insufferable there. So there's that.
It was cool when the mob ran it. Now it's insufferable.
It was kind of cool. You could get real good kielbasa like real cheap for a while there, but I don't know if you can anymore.
I know there's some good spots with the mob of more, my culture.
Is the mob bad? More at 11.
yes, it is. But
the mob bad actually.
But Camiso Bakery still makes a mean sandwich, man. Like that veal sandwich. That's a good sandwich.
Okay. But yes, I probably would be a Jedi because I also played a lot of Star Wars Galaxies, and the pathway to become a Jedi was exhausting in that game. And the pathway to becoming a Sith was even more exhausting, but I really wanted to be one. And then I just gave up and then quit the game altogether. So maybe I'm just not cut out to be a Jedi of any kind, whether I'm light or dark. I probably would end up more like a bartender, like serving Han Solo a blue drink.
No, you're one of the band playing.
Yeah, I'm in the Cantina band.
What's that song called?
The Cantina band. It's Cantina band. Yeah. And I'd probably get caught in the crossfire in the first 20 minutes of a Star Wars movie and die. So that's probably where I would be in the Star Wars universe.
I got that Anakin Skywalker energy.
A little bit. Yeah, a little bit. Yes.
I do. I think.
Yes, I agree. Survivor 48. Who do you think you want to win Survivor? Who do you think will win, and who do you want to
Joe,
win?
it's not. It's gonna be Joe. Like it
God,
can't-
I hope not.
It's gonna be Joe. I swear to God, all they do is make you feel sad and feel empathetic for Joe. Like he's gonna win. Like they had that dude. They had the whole story about Shaheen's dad dying, but then it's like, or something like that. But I can't even remember really what happened with Shaheen. But then they had like this emotional moment with Joe and like his sister. You know, like
yes, that was kind of weird,
dude.
like filming that.
You know why?
It was a little weird.
You know why? Because he's gonna win. He's going to win. He's absolutely going to win.
Here's what I think. I think that the problem for him is the game is not about just doing good. The game is having the jury vote for you. And all of the members of the jury so far, except for Shaheen, have gone against the powerful group, or at least tried. They've gone, hey guys, we got to get rid of these powerful players. They're running the game, or they're going to run the game if we don't take them out. We got to take them out. And every single time, who gets voted out? The people who speak up, right? The people who want to play are the ones getting voted out.
Yeah.
And I think that the more you do that, the more you put them all in a room together, the more they go, like, again, like, obviously, if you didn't see the last episode, spoiler alert, but in the last episode, or 2 episodes ago, sorry, when Mary got voted out and David stood up, like, to salute her leaving, I think there's a reason he did that. And I think
because he's mad at Joe.
Right. But that's what I'm saying. Like, all of those people who were sitting there were people who were like, those people are powerful and we need to get rid of them. And everybody else said no, and they got put on the jury. And I think and it's done in such a way where it's like frustrating, because I don't think they deserve to be like, Eva, for example, has advantages out the wazoo, and nobody seems to be smart enough to be like, let's actually get rid of these people. So I don't think
they try, but like Camilla and Kyle have just been so tentative, and like we'll see if they actually pull
not
off
anymore.
The move. No, we'll see.
Like, they pulled off getting rid of Shaheen.
Yeah, but well, I just think the way the story presents Joe, there's just no way he doesn't win. Like, Kyle has an outside chance at this point.
I think if Camilla goes to the end, she wins. I think she wins.
We have like very little content from Camilla.
I don't care.
Listen,
that wouldn't be the first time. That wouldn't be the first time a winner gets very little attention.
I'm in the business of entertainment and storytelling, like sports entertainment and storytelling. There's not a lot for Camilla, for us to be sympathetic and want Camilla to win.
I don't know.
Survivor is putting Joe on a spoon and saying, "This is who we're feeding you. we want you to like him. Please like Joe. Please."
I disagree, and we will move on. Okay. Who will be the PWHL's Caitlin Clark, not including Poulin or Knight? I hope it's Caroline Harvey. I think Caroline Harvey, when she makes the jump to the PWHL, which might be this year, she is going to be worth the watch. She is legit. Every time I see the American women's team and Caroline Harvey is playing, I'm going, my God, I love Caroline Harvey so much. She's just a great player. She plays a fun style of play, phenomenal player. I think that there should be hype around her because she has been an NCAA standout for many, many years now. I just can't wait for her to be in the PWHL. Whoever she plays for, it's going to be great. What's more likely than what's more likely? Oh my God. What is more likely? The Buffalo Sabres making the playoffs or the Canucks winning the cup? Statistically, you have to go with the Sabres.
Neither.
Statistically, you got a 50-50 shot if you're Buffalo to make the season, to make the Stanley Cup playoffs at any point, and you have to be one of 32 to win the Stanley Cup. So I'll say Buffalo. Do you think Brady Martin has a similar upside as Ryan Leonard or less? Less. I think Brady Martin is more of your third line Scott Laughton style center. I think that's kind of what he is.
So he's bad if he's like Scott Laughton.
Well, he's not bad, but he's a guy who will play in the NHL and hit guys and keep guys off the puck and
can he at least move
physical. And I mean, he can move okay, but I don't think that like carrying the puck is not going to be his forte. I don't think. Okay. But I do think he would fit decently well with what Anaheim does have, if that answers your question. If you were the Ducks general manager, which guys are you looking at number 10? Well,
Brendan,
if he's there, Colin Potter.
I would say if Eklund is there or Potter, or by some miracle a Hagens or a Martone, those are the names I look at.
Martone's not making it that far.
I doubt Frundell makes it that far, but around there is like I have Bear, Eric Nilsson. Even Eric Nilsson has worked his way up back into my top 12, so there's that. But Carter Bear, I have Zonin really high, but I feel like you could take him a little later if you're Anaheim. Like at that range in 10, if it's not Eklund or Potter, I would say you trade down, or even if it is Potter, you trade down and try to pick him a little later and just bet on the upside. I doubt Denvoyer will be there. Kindle, I wouldn't take that high. Logan Hensler, I don't think is a fit for what they want or need. So some of those other names might be better. What is Maddox Schultz upside? I have not seen enough of Maddox Schultz to tell you. He is like 14 years old.
Sorry, I'm laughing at a comment that I'd be for sure hooked on death sticks.
Oh yes, you would. 100%.
No.
Yeah, you would.
No,
you
I
would get hooked
wouldn't.
on death.
No, I don't do drugs.
No,
I
that's
swear.
true. You're not. Yeah, you're not a. Yeah, no. AJ's clean as a whistle.
I definitely was at one point. But
weren't we all? Well, maybe not everybody, but most of us. Anyway, that's good.
I was clean until 3 years ago.
No, okay. Well, you made it longer than most people.
Yeah.
You're not a drinker though, right?
No,
like
not
you don't
at all.
really. You're not an
Not at all.
alcohol guy, which is arguably the worst for you.
Yeah.
That's accessible. Oh my God, is Cookie Monster the goat of Sesame Street? If not, who is?
Yes, he is. Yes, he
he's
is.
right up there.
Yeah, he is. There's no debate. It's Cookie Monster. He's just insane.
I mean, I know this is kind of cheating, but I'm a big Bert and Ernie guy. But yeah, I think Cookie Monster is probably the
king.
goat.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Animal's fun. Oscar the Grouch, but no, I don't think they beat Cookie Monster. Especially after Family Guy made fun of him with the cookies on the toilet and he's cooking them with a spoon and
Cookie
Monster. It's just it cracks me up. Anytime an animated show shows guys with their eyes crossed the opposite way while doing something panicked, that cracks me up every time. It's just so funny. What's the goat of all desserts? Ooh.
Oh.
That's a really good question.
Chocolate cheesecake?
I'm not a big chocolate guy, but I was going to say a really good cheesecake. Like a good cheesecake.
Wait.
That's
what? You're not a chocolate?
I'm not a huge chocolate guy. Not a huge one.
What?
Not I mean, I'll eat chocolate if someone puts a piece of chocolate. If someone puts a Toblerone, if someone puts a Toblerone in front of me, that thing is going away. That thing is just phasing out of the universe. If someone puts a Toblerone in front of me, I'm just saying I'll eat chocolate if it's put in front of me. But if I had a wall of desserts to choose from, I don't think I'm taking anything with chocolate in it. If a key lime pie was there, I'm probably taking the key. I'm a big cherry pie guy. I like a good cherry pie. Blueberry pie.
You are the whitest person on planet Earth.
I mean, dude, my dad traced our heritage back to, of all places, Canada. So yeah.
But didn't you say you have like a very small amount of Native American in you?
Yeah, very small, but that's like 8 generations ago, and
not enough to collect tax breaks.
He married a white woman and had white kids, and here I am. And I mean, my there is part of my mom's side that is from New York State, but depending on who you ask, that's basically Canada. They came from Buffalo, so Canada. I'm as Canadian as it gets.
You are the definition of a munja cake.
Yeah, exactly. I fully admit it. I am. But I'm trying to think of other desserts that I do like that aren't just white people pies that you get at the grocery store.
Can't think of any.
Yeah, I can't think of any. I like a good turnover. I think those are Dutch originally. A little turnover. Yeah. It's like a little apple pie, but in a little.
I like Venetian squares, which are like, I can't even remember what they are fully, but They're awesome.
Venetian squares. Oh, I just googled Venetian squares
No,
and nothing popped up.
Phoenician.
Oh,
Phoenician.
phone, P-H-O-E.
Yeah, yeah. Not Venetian.
Phoenician squares. Likely refers to a board game.
What?
I don't think I'm doing this right. Anyway.
Well, our internal name for them was called Bubba Cookies, but they were called Bubba Cookies because that's what my mom. That's like
Right.
that's the Yiddish word for grandmother,
Right.
and my mother called it that. But I think they're called Phoenician squares. But if you're not finding them, then
Yeah.
But that was something I really
Yeah.
loved as a kid, and I can't really
Right.
even describe what it was because I was just very young, and then my mom got on like a little more of a health craze, and like we never had them again.
That's a shame. My mom did similar things back in the 2000s. A lot of people go through that.
Goddamn white moms.
I know. I love my mom.
I love my mom too.
Than that. Anyway, okay, where were we here? Why would Marner make more than Bouchard next season?
Because he's better. It's like
he's-
it's not
yeah,
even
'cause
close.
Marner actually had a good season defensively too. Like he had a good year. It's just game 4, 5, 6, game 5, 7. Not great. I don't think Toronto was the highest bidder during Tavares free agency. That's true. I think it was
San Jose.
who
They
more.
offered $14 million by 2 years, though. Toronto was the highest.
That was it. Highest total value.
Yes.
Yeah. What psychological experiment would you run with hockey players if you had infinite time and resources? Lock them all in a padded room and see who is left.
Here's my experiment. Give the Leafs a team with a good play style that I want. That would be my hockey experiment, and we'd win cups because it would work.
I would make them read a book and
Get out of here. I'm ending the stream now. That's a pathetic answer.
No, the thing person said was I would make them play tactical shooters. What I would do is I would make them play Rocket League. That's a game that I think has a bit of analogs to hockey, and I think I would be very curious to see, strategically speaking, how they sort of figure things out, and maybe because it's a lot of triangles in that game, and it's all that. Anyway, what is the craziest fact you ever heard? Oh my god, I don't have.
I can't even remember, honestly. Like there's been so many facts thrown around that it's hard to even. I don't know.
Yes, it's hard to pick one. The thing that always blows my mind is the scale of the universe. Like the way that we measure the size of the universe is in the length of time.
Of Earth to Sun too, like
93 million miles. Like that's
one astronomical unit.
Right. But like I mean like a light year. Like a light year, if you flick the lights on in your room, there is a specific period of time where the light is propagating through the room. You just never notice. But if you are on the nearest star to the Earth, things that happen out there, 4 years later, you see it. That's pretty crazy. And that's the closest thing to us. So we're talking like Andromeda Galaxy on its way. Look out, here it comes. Waiting for the disaster movie about the Andromeda Galaxy collision 2 million light years away. So we're seeing it the way it was 2 million years ago. And that's pretty wild.
Yeah, that is kind of nuts.
That's pretty wild. And that's the nearest galaxy to us.
Aren't we gonna have like a galaxy merger? But like
that's the one. Oh, it'll be like 2 billion years from now or something like that.
Yeah, I'll be dead.
Look out.
The Leafs will have won a cup by then.
Get your insurance claims in now, because who knows with inflation.
I will guarantee the Leafs will have won a cup by then. 2 billion years? Come on, 2 billion years.
It's the sun will
Buffalo
roast the
Sabres
planet.
will have won a cup by then.
The sun will be roasting us alive or dead in any case well before that happens. So there will not be any ice to play hockey on at some point.
Well, on
the future. Right. Sure. Maybe we're playing hockey on Ganymede or something, but I don't know.
On Titan.
But that's on Titan in our like freezing methane lakes. That's what we're gonna frozen methane lakes. That's what we're gonna be doing.
Yeah, we're gonna have sheets of ice underneath a frozen lake.
Yep.
Oh
Yep.
God.
Yep. I mean, the other thing too is recently, now that we've had a new pope elected, I love the fact that there was,
American Pope.
yeah, an American pope. But I love the fact that at one point in history, a pope dug up a previous pope and put him on trial. I
That
think
might actually be the craziest thing I've
that I
ever.
think is the funniest thing I've read in a long time. I just cannot believe that someone did that at some point.
I will
Like,
throw. Okay, you continue. Sorry.
no. I'm done. I'm done. Go ahead.
I will throw one of my favorite things of all time to like think about is Marcus Crassus, like Licinius Crassus. Just such a hilarious character, like horrible human being and very self-interested. This guy was the richest man in Rome because he controlled the fire department, okay, in the Roman Empire. But he would not put out a fire unless the owner of the property would sell the property at a discount. Otherwise, he'd just let your house burn down. And he made his fortune off that. And then when he went to try and take over the Parthian Empire, he refused to use the Armenian guidance because it was going to take too long. And then he took the guidance of Parthian spies, walked right into a death trap, and then when he got captured, they poured molten gold down his throat because of all of his
Right. I knew that part.
That
Yeah.
Marcus Light and
executions.
also he basically won the Servile War, like finished off the Servile War against Spartacus, but Pompey Magnus just strolled right in and won the decisive battle and took credit for everything. So Crassus was the biggest CUCK in all of Roman history.
I will say, though, he might have been onto something in our current economic and societal climate with the whole sell me your house and I'll put out the fire thing and give me $20 for it. I think we're not that far away from that. Maybe by the time I'm an old man, that's kind of the norm. You go, oh no, my house is on fire, and the fire department is privatized, and the guy goes, yeah, you got to give us a monthly payment of $600 in order to make sure that we
Guy also backed Julius Caesar because he because he would abolish, like he would bail out the tax collectors who bid on how much tax they could extract from the populace, and when they couldn't reach what they had bid for, he is just
it's weird how history kind of repeats itself in a weird way, because that sounds awfully familiar too. Oh no, we were using our knowledge of the population to try to take advantage of their ignorance and our power, but we failed. Now we need money. Please give me money. Please give me money. My estate doesn't pay for itself.
Marcus Licinius Crassus is just one of the most pathetic characters ever, and he was so stinking rich, and that's why I there's something very charming and awful about him that I would can't help but love.
I would love to read a book about the most pathetic characters in history who are kind of forgotten about.
Crassus is right up there.
I bet you the 2016 to 2025 Toronto Maple Leafs are probably a part of that book.
All right. Marcus Crassus is a little more pathetic than that.
He's on an economic scale that's a little bit more pathetic.
Lost their evil standards.
Yes. When watching a quote less than ideal prospect, when does it get to a point for you stop watching them? I mean, I always finish games unless it's really not fun. I don't know. It's different.
You're a stronger human being than I.
Yeah, usually it's like I finish the game and I go, oh well. Which one of you would be the best spy?
Not me.
Yeah, probably me.
Not me.
I feel like I could blend in with the crowd pretty easily.
I do not blend in. I am quite personality, and I think ultimately I like sharing too much, and I would die.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on also what kind of spying we're talking about here, because there are many different ways to be an intelligence officer in this day and age.
Yeah,
but I don't know.
I just can't keep my mouth shut. So yeah, I
that's
think
true.
Win. I think you win.
Yeah. Were you a student's teachers liked or regretted being your teacher? I think
Go ahead.
teachers liked me. I'm pretty sure. I mean, most of my teachers liked me. I think the ones that didn't were because I was too much of a dork and they got really annoyed at how much of a dork I was. But I think teachers generally liked me.
Yeah.
Science teachers did like me. Every math teacher but one really liked me. But I think that's because where I went to school, like our grades had mixed up different teachers and everybody had this one teacher going into grade 12 calculus and I was the only guy in the class who had never had this guy as a teacher, and I also was terrible at the vectors unit in that class, and so I started the year off with like a 55 in grade 12 calculus. So I think he just thought I was some kind of idiot who like didn't know anything, and then at the calculus part, that's when I kind of pulled myself together and pulled off like an 84 in that class, because calculus and me go together
Dweeb.
like AJ and chocolate apparently.
No,
Um
I'm not that crazy of a chocolate guy. Like, I'm not that big of a dessert guy, anyways. But like, chocolate
Yeah.
cheesecake is my thing, man.
right.
Chocolate
Got it.
cheesecake or red velvet cake, like that's where it's at for me.
Yep.
For me though, my teachers either loved me insanely, or they hated me. You couldn't. There were like one of my math teachers who was Italian said to me, "You're the Mario Balotelli of math. You have so much potential, but you waste it."
That's such a savage assault.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
that's
He's
so
like, he
good.
didn't understand why I didn't want to be good. Like, I didn't care. Just not that interesting to me. Yeah, I'm good with numbers, but I don't care. It's
don't
not
care.
fun.
Oh, I love it. Clearly. I mean, my teachers liked me and the few friends I had, because outside of class, teachers liked us because we were funny. Like we just didn't care that much about what people thought about us. So we just kind of like goofed off, and teachers kind of like that in between classes. But in class, I mean, kind of depends. But I wasn't like a bad kid in class ever, I don't think. Too
Sorry,
much
Ebro.
shame.
No one understands me. BS.
Yeah, exactly.
Will gets
The
me. I think Will gets me quite well, actually.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so.
You sound like you regret that you know me and get me.
The Leafs need bottom sixers who can put the puck in the net sometimes. Stop being obsessed with grit. Truth, preach.
Yes.
Give Robertson a bigger role. Bro,
Yes.
Robertson's role couldn't be any more limited at this point.
Yes.
Take a cheap flyer like Carcone or Sprong. Yeah, like
Sprong,
Carcone I could
yes.
see being an option, but Sprong, yeah, I guess.
You literally said that before the show,
yeah,
that you wanted
did.
Daniel Sprong.
Half jokingly, but yes.
It was not half jokingly. That's what you want.
I did jot down, who did I jot down here? Like Nico Sturm would be fun. I feel like that's a good player that's kind of what Toronto's looking for. Buy low on Anthony Mantha, get him a PTO league min.
Cut me some slack. It's Maple Leaf withdrawal. Honestly, I've been good up until now. I just think that I avoid social media entirely when it comes to my team, because I just don't want to hear what other people have to say about my team, because generally it's not going to be all that well informed. I'm down to have a good conversation, but like, so much of social media discourse is just a load of horse manure, all right? It really is. It's a load of crap. And it's a lot of dumb people saying dumb things, tapping into their feelings. Now, look, I'm not going to say that everything I've said tonight's been perfect. There are times where I've caught myself, I'm like, AJ, you're in your feels a little bit too much here. It happens. But that is just vomit. That stuff is just pure vomit. I stay away from it. I've been pretty composed, but this is kind of where I'm outletting all of it.
It's the kind of brain rot that I don't like, but I do. It's not Italian brain rot. That's the kind of brain rot, or a skibbity toilet. That's my kind of brain rot. Reading Maple Leaf fan explosions are not the best kind of brain rot in my opinion. But anyway, let's continue and close this show out here.
More skibbity toilet, less Steve Dangle.
More skibbity toilet, less. Yeah, exactly. What ECHL name or logo or jersey is your favorite? I like the Iowa Heartlanders vibe and the Tahoe Night Monsters and Trois Rivières. I think Trois Rivières have a really cool look. Who else is up there? Those are the ones that I would definitely speak to quickly right off the hop. AJ was clean until he interacted with Ray. He's been insane since. That's true.
I mean, I
Interacting with
was
Rayanne will make you
clean
nuts.
before I interacted with Rayanne, but
Right.
no, it was my brother who got me into it. My little brother.
Yep. What sports team
Bad
name is
influence.
the most ridiculous? Well, I mean, the Omaha Axar Ben Knights was pretty wild back in the day. There's definitely teams out there where I'm going, what are you doing? I can't think of any off the top of my head. I will say I'm looking at a list of ECHL teams right in front of me here, and the Kalamazoo Wings feels very clunky and weird. I know that's the name they've had forever, but a oo sound and a w sound in quick succession, no, wrong. It's bad. It's bad. All right.
Yeah, not pleasant.
Yeah. All right. Where are we? Can we just agree that Marner effing rocks? I mean, sure.
Yes, he does.
I mean, he does. He does, but
to...
when he is not around mentally, that's problematic.
It was actually hilarious that he's like, wake the F up, and then he did that. Like, Justin Bourd's not wrong.
And he's not wrong that his hair looked pretty dry. And that was 10 minutes into the period. He looked pretty relaxed.
I feel like he was the wrong person to say it, but hey.
Yeah.
I love you, Mitch. I love you, Mitch. And
I know. He's ripping down the Gardner right now, or not right now, but maybe tomorrow, listening to this and in his Range Rover going, thanks, AJ. Love you, pal. Thanks for the support.
I hope so.
I needed it. I
hope so, man.
If that's the case, that would be the craziest. That would be so dumb.
Good luck with the child. Good luck with the child.
That's true. Yeah. Good luck with your child. Do better than your dad. That came out bad. That came out wrong. I meant in more like the news clip of his father being verbally abusive towards his son when he's like 8 years old. That's more what I'm talking about. That's a pretty low bar to clear, though. I'm not saying he'd be a bad dad, but
all right,
maybe cut it down on that. Yeah, now he's done. He's unsubscribed.
You wrecked it.
Yeah, I wrecked it. That was a good run. Sorry, Mitch. Who wins in a fight, Will and AJ or 250 might hockey players? Am I wearing skates? Because that's an easy way to win a fight.
200. We're just gonna get overrun. I don't even know what might. Like, what is that? Is that?
Well, those are like little kids, like the littlest of little kids.
No, we're still gonna lose. There's 250 of them. Like, if they can coordinate an attack on both of us, we're done.
I will employ a strategy that has worked in video games quite often when being attacked by swarms of animals
or zombies. You throw
zombies.
You throw a monkey with cymbals.
Here's my advantage, right? If I'm on a sheet of ice and I can skate, I can definitely skate faster than might hockey players.
Yeah, but there's
so I skate
50 of them.
I know, but hear me out. I skate away from them and create a constant stream of hockey players that are chasing me, and I bash their heads together one at a time.
Bro, there's 250 of them.
Right, but I can keep skating. I can keep a gap, and I can keep bashing their heads together.
How long? There's 250 of them.
I can skate longer than a bunch of children. I can definitely do it.
But they're gonna fill up the rink in different spots. Like, we're losing. There's 250 of them.
No, I'm gonna bash. I'm bashing them all. I'm bashing all the kids.
You're delusional.
I might be, but I'm going bashing. We have a stick. Okay, if we have a stick, then that's very different. I'm bashing.
Oh, do the kids have a stick? Ran?
Who cares? I have a longer reach. Again, just skate away from them and just keep swatting at them or poking at them, like poke at their cages. And
we'll get down a bunch of. I'm not throwing, okay? I'm not throwing, Ran. That's not how this. I'm just trying to.
No.
Like, it's 250. That's a lot of kids. It's an absurd amount of children that are like trying to beat us to in a fight.
No, I win. I win easily.
Okay.
If the Islanders go Schaefer, I'm not convinced they will. Which defender would you like to see San Jose take a flyer on with the other first round pick via Dallas, or even the first pick of the second round? I mean, like maybe a Hensler, maybe Jackson Smith. If it's early in the second, like I mean, if Fiddler is there, maybe Fiddler. Cameron Reed might be a nice bet if you want someone more offensive. If you really want to take a big risk, Carter Amico or Kurban Limatov. Kurban Limatov played with Chernyshov last year, so maybe there's a connection there that they go after Limatov. And I've heard that he might be a guy who's higher up in the second round for some teams, so maybe there's that. Right.
All right,
You
we
can't
gotta
convince. Yeah, I know. You can't convince me Will doesn't have a second job at the intelligence service. Well, you'd be the first to know because I don't. Maybe they brainwashed me.
yes, they did.
Yeah.
Just trying to
Hockey
get all
Talk
my
brain rot is pretty
secrets.
good, I will say. Yeah. Leafs should look at a non-tender and Group 6 UFA market. Yes, I agree. That's what they should do. Does Kasper Haltonen going crazy in the postseason implicate there might be more meat on the bone than originally scouted? Well, no, because he's scoring goals. Like he's doing what he has done his entire career in junior, which is score goals. So yes, he is doing exactly. He's a 20-year-old, 6'4", 220-pound shooty boy playing kids. So yes, he's going to score lots of goals. I'm not surprised. Yeah, I have a David Goggins mentality. You're gosh dang right. And on that note, we're going to call it a night.
Yes, because I have
and we're
to
going to get out of
be
here.
at work at 7 a.m.
Well, you had an out for tonight, but
No, I
you're
don't take days off, man.
well,
Except for when it
that,
comes to editing
all I'm
videos for this
saying.
channel now.
All I'm saying is it's your call at the end of the day.
Well, I
No
had to be
complaining
here.
allowed. All right.
Look,
I mean, I guess of all shows tonight makes sense.
I had to be here. I had to drive up engagements. Look at how many chat comments we got. Do you think you were gonna do that alone tonight? Nah, they came here to ragdoll on me. All right, they came here.
Yeah,
They
probably.
came here to take a.
We
I
would
was
be
about to
if
swear.
you
I was about to swear again. They came here to take a poop in my cereal.
if you weren't here, we probably would be doing power rankings of Italian brain rot characters with Tung 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 Sahur at number 1
What?
and nobody else even on the list. Don't ask about it. Just don't bother.
I'm
Or
not. I'm not
we'd
because I gotta go to
probably
bed.
yeah, I know. AJ's got to go to bed. So we're gonna call it a night. And thanks for joining us. This was a lot of fun. We'll see you Thursday afternoon, 2 p.m. Watch the Memorial Cup. Watch the Stanley
Yep.
Cup playoffs. They're both going to be sweet, and we'll see you then. So thanks for watching. Y'all.
And Mitch Marner's re-signing and leaves for Cup in 2026.